Please, allow me to show you something.
Run that shit back, man.
All right. Welcome back to another Media Man Live. See, they already trying to get me. So real quick, I don't know what's going on with StreamYard. Every time I click a super chat, the background comes up. Let me see something real quick. Let me see if I click anything. Yeah, something is going on. Y'all see that? So every time I click that, it goes to the background. So give me 1 second. Let me leave the studio and see if that clears it up. God dang it. I can't leave the studio because that's going to get rid of all my videos. So we may be ass out of reading the super chat. So I'm going to rely on the moderators to keep me posted. And I will definitely read them off camera, but I will leave the little comments, little deal down here on the screen so you guys can be acknowledged. So I honestly don't know what's going on. I see you, Mona, in the building. I see Olawa. I see all the super chats. I see all the comments, but let me show you guys something. You see that? So yeah, so every time that I click something, this pops up. And yeah, I haven't got a notification from StreamYard to see what the hell is going on. So that's what it is. But we gonna fight through it. We gonna get through to the show. But yeah, so I will definitely read the super chats off the screen. However, you can see them at the bottom. If you look right here, you can see it. I see Air Force Reek just sent in a super chat, so I will definitely read it. So let me see. Media Man, try heart the comments first. How do you? No, I don't think you can heart comments. Oh, let me see. Yeah, no. Nah, I honestly don't know what the hell is going on. That's pretty crazy. It's always something. Yeah. So if I leave so I have all the videos set up in like the order that I need them. So it's gonna take too long for me to put everything back if I leave the studio, and that's gonna take a lot of time. So the best bet is just to leave this little thing down here box so you guys can see that, and then I will read them offline. So let's go ahead and start there. And I'll also thank you to Pooh Man and Mona for being here on this special show, man. I get to share one of my favorite books. I've been talking about it for a while now. The members, they got a sneak preview of what we're going to discuss, but I'm not going to give you everything. However, I did highlight some very important parts of my book, Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. And like I was telling the members on Sunday, I actually ran from this book because you guys know that I'm trying to learn a little bit more about the Bible, understanding the stories and things of that nature. So I was like, I don't want anything to conflict with me getting closer to God. So I used to see this every time I would go into Books a Million every month, right? We go there, we get new books, and we read a book a month. Seeing it, I was like, God, dog, I want to read this book. And then I saw, I don't know where I was on Google, something popped up. This book popped up, and I was like, you know what? Let me see what the hell is going on. I read the forward, and I was like, oh, this is not what I thought it was, because of course I thought it was going to be something crazy. And I'm like, man, I can't have this foolery in my house. However, this definitely skyrocketed to the top of my list as one of my favorite books of all time. And I'm so happy that it's Men's Mental Health Month, and we can tie that into some of the issues that we have in society today, more particular in the Black community, and hopefully give you guys some insight in regards to certain things that I believe and certain things that you can adopt and help you out in your day-to-day life, you know. And I know it's a lot of people have been rocking with me. I kind of sit back and I do my research, and I, you know, check the temperature of the chats, the comment sections, and I make sure before I say certain things, and if it's on my heart and I need to share it with you guys, I'm definitely going to do it. It wouldn't be my channel if I didn't do that. So yeah, so gentlemen and also ladies, this is definitely some things that you can adopt as well. But more importantly, I want to speak directly to the Black men. Hopefully you guys will learn something from this. It is seriously one of my favorite videos, our favorite books. And hopefully I can share some of that information and convey it with my own stories and how I drifted in certain areas and how I became a non-drifter in certain areas and how you waffle back and forth. And you guys will understand these terms as we get into the breakdown of the book. So hopefully this inspires you to go grab Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. I definitely guarantee that you will enjoy it. Seriously. Okay. So yeah, so let's see here. What Ola said, see that? So I can't bring it up on screen. You said I think you can only heart super chats. Okay. Yeah, and I can see, like I said, on YouTube, we good, but this is ran through StreamYard. So that's why the issue is, you know, it's a bit of an issue there. But let me go ahead and read the super chats that I got so far. I see Dante Bryant. Let me see if I can bring this up on YouTube. Hold on. I usually don't have it running on my phone. Nah, don't let me see here. I can heart it. Air Force Reek, I just hearted that. Let's see if that works. Nope. I don't know what's going on. That's crazy. Sheesh. Yeah, I can't bring it up on screen on. Can I bring it on screen on YouTube? Let's see. Go to activity. Nah, it's all good. Okay, so let me go ahead and read Dante Bryant's super chat, $5. Thank you, good brother. Appreciate that. He said, Brother Double M, hey, I know you saw Tiffany Haddish on Godfrey's podcast talking crazy. No, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't watch. I didn't even know Godfrey had a podcast. He had Tiffany on there talking crazy. I mean, what's new? Tiffany Haddish always, she's been kind of sporadic these days. I don't know, but yeah, probably some foolery. But appreciate the super chat. Let's see here. And we got Olawa. Oh, I'm so used to bringing them up on the screen. Olawa with the $2 super chat said, hey, Medium Man, salute. And chat, happy Monday. Y'all, happy Monday. And thank you for that super chat. I greatly appreciate it. And then Air Force, shot, dog it. Let me stop. Air Force Reek, $2 super chat said, we are in here on a Monday. Salute, Media Man and chat. Thank you, good brother. And then we got William K. Jones with the $4.99 bomb. Thank you. Thank you for dropping that. Let's see here. And thank you, Mona, for acknowledging the super chats. Like I said, guys, experienced some minor difficulties with StreamYard in the background. However, we're going to definitely work through it because, like I said, this is one of my – if you guys haven't noticed, when we do like statistical dumps and research and, money stuff, we talk about stoicism, that's actually my lane. The only reason why I really get involved into the black stuff in regards to relationships is I see a void sometimes where you can give, where I can give people practical knowledge that I've learned over the years. And also when somebody is lying on black men. If nobody is lying on black men, I promise you guys, every week, if it was up to me, I would review a video or a book every week. Seriously. And, in the way that I can, I guess interpret it to the lay person, it would be definitely a space for that. And I think I'm going to continue to do this outside of the mental health month. This is our men's mental health month series. So yeah, I'm going to continue doing this. This is definitely up my lane because I know a lot of people may not like to read. Like I said, I'm an avid reader and I'm not going to, put crazy numbers on it. Like I said, I try and read a book a month. And I've, so far I've done that and I'm continue to do that, throughout the year. So I think that's doable, a book a month, and hopefully that's something that you guys adopt moving forward. But before we get into the main event and we start breaking down Outwitting the Devil, we're going to look at a couple of videos and I'm going to actually involve you guys in an exercise. We're going to do a relationship exercise and I'm literally going to read the most important chats that are sent in based off of this scenario that you guys are going to listen to. And the first one where we're going to start, and I'm going to get to the super chat here in a second. Let me see here. Let's go. Now let's start with this. This is going to be good. Truest Dude, $2 super chat said, I stay watching those A-Lux videos, bro. Thanks so much. Yeah, I'm glad you do, man. That's one of my favorite channels, man. But let's start, before we get into the exercise, let's start with a video that may be interesting to black women. And I'm pretty sure that you guys have seen this content creator. Let me make sure I get her name correct and give her credit for putting this video out or asking the question. Hold on. Her name is Sadia Psychology. I've seen her on many different podcasts. She has an accent. She's an attractive woman. So she's been on a bunch of podcasts spreading her, I guess her knowledge and information or whatever. I'm not sure if you guys like her or not. I've never done a review video on this one, but my homeboy, he actually sent this to me. And I was like, wow, this is crazy, because I went to the comment sections and it was something that I was not shocked to see. So this is her asking the question, what do white men do? Okay. And I know it sounds crazy, but listen to what she says. Fair use. Here we go.
If you date white guys, white American kind of guys, what's your complaint? Like, what is actually your problem? Because white men are the easiest men on. You don't know what other men are like. Like, you don't have to cook, you don't have to clean, you don't have to even be loyal to him. If you cheat on him, he's like, oh, as long as you don't do it again. I'm like, what do you worry about? What? Tell me.
Okay, so let's stop right there. So you heard what she said, right? She's asking the question, what do white men do wrong in relationships? And the first thing that stuck out to me is that she's asking because this information on white men and what they do wrong isn't readily available in comparison to black men, because black women tell everybody where black men be effing up, whether it's right, wrong, lie, truth, it don't matter. It don't take much. A simple Google search, a simple TikTok search, Facebook, Instagram, and you will literally find some black woman talking crazy about a black man. However, with white men, it's not so readily available. Even though they have podcasts that talk about these things all the time, it's just not that simple to see a bunch of white women saying, this is what white men do wrong, and this is what we have to deal with. So she was asking the question because the perception of white men, and I got this from black women. Black women would say that white men, you take them on a date and buy them houses on the first date. Y'all remember that video, that crazy-eyed woman? And then it was another chubby woman that was saying, yeah, you know, I could call a white man at 4 o'clock in the morning and say that I'm hungry and he will send me something to eat. They just send cash. And of course, I talked about this with, you know, my white brothers. And I was like, why they think that about y'all? And they literally don't understand. And so the reason why she asked that was like, yeah, I want to hear it. And it was funny. I'm going to show you the first comment. And I'm glad he said this because I don't think a lot of white men know this about how women view them. Let's see here. Let me bring this down. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. Hold on. I'm going to put the background back up. There we go. Okay. So this guy, he said, is this really the stereotype we got? Because he didn't know. He didn't know that women view white men like they don't do anything wrong. And you, like I said, it's a lot of, you know, things going on there where you see, you know, okay, it's the majority of population of men in the United States are white men. You know, they own the majority of the businesses, you know, income and things of that nature. But I used to question, like, I don't think white men as a whole understand that other races of women, in particular, black women, think that they don't do anything wrong. And like I told you guys, some of my best female friends, black women, are married to my best white friends. I've never had an issue with that. Yeah, I was in the military. I told y'all that's normal for us. And I also grew up in California. That's normal. So let me show you some of the other comments real quick. And for the black women who want to divest, I think y'all need to pay attention to this. And this is not to highlight the negativity of white men. I'm just using this as an example. Okay. So I want y'all to get offended. So this woman says they are mostly emotionally available, just want a situationship, breadcrumb, and ghost you, and are stingy with you, but always trying to show off his money and possessions. And these are just anecdotal comments, you know, from these different women. So don't take it to heart because I know I got a substantial white following. So yeah, so no, this is not facts or anything. It just is what it is. Okay. And then this woman says the white guys I dated were very jealous, and that's something I cannot deal with, and no reason for them to be jealous because they are good-looking men, successful, mostly numb, avoidant, feminine, inconsistent, unable to make decision. Do you need more? They don't commit. You know what's funny? When I was reading these comments, I was like, these are things that are easily accessible for black men. Like you see black women talking about this shit all the time. All the faults that black men do in regards to their life, their anecdotal experiences, you can find on social media every damn day. Because if I'm thinking correctly, if Tiffany Haddish, I don't know what she said, but I'm pretty sure that's something to do with black men. And that train is never late. It's always going to be somebody, right? Okay. So yeah, so what they're saying about white men, it sounds like they're describing the black men that the black women make videos about. Let me say that much. And then this I don't know, my white man will delete me if I cheat. And it's of course he would. That's the other truth about dating a white man. You, your kids, and himself, man. Nah, I won't stamp that as true on all ends, but it does happen. Patrice O'Neal has a funny joke about that, but I won't repeat it here. This woman says, nah, for real, this is my worry. And this is a black woman. So she's worried about it, but she knows, but she's like, okay, cool. But you know what the funniest thing was? I scanned through damn near all the comments, and 2 comments from black women stuck out to me. Listen to this. First one said, if there was a way to give a thumbs down to this video, I would. This is very disrespectful. And then this black woman said, just because you can, don't mean you should. Treat all people with respect. So they were actually going to bat for, people describing white men as such. And I literally, it's rare to see a black woman do that when you see black women tearing down black men. So to see those two black women do that under a post where women were highlighting the faults of white men, that was very telling. But you know what's funny? I've done videos about this, and I've actually shared videos of this woman that we're about to watch. This video went viral maybe a year ago, and she was explaining the differences between black men and white men. And I think that's where black women get this perception of white men that they don't do anything wrong. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Here we go.
You ask, what's the difference between dating some black men and the white man? Well, the white man is going to call you and invite you out.
Hold on, let me go back.
The white man is going to call you and invite you out. The black man is going to text you, good morning, beautiful, hello, gorgeous, what you doing? The white man is going to take you to a very nice dinner and pay for it. The black man is going to ask you, what you cooking? Can I come over? The white man is going to take you to get your tire fixed and pay for it. The black man is going to tell you, you need to get your tire fixed. The white man is going to buy you a very special gift for your birthday. The black man is going to disappear and call you after your birthday. The white man is going to be very impressed by your education and your personal accomplishments. The black man is going to be intimidated by your education and your personal accomplishments. The white man is going to raise his kid, take care of his kid, spend quality time with his kid. The black man is going to get you pregnant and abandon you and the kid.
There you go.
The white man wants a relationship that leads to marriage and family. The black man wants a situationship that leads to nothing. The white man is going to date you, propose to you, and then marry you. The black man is going to shack up with you and play house with you. The white man is going to be clear in his communication when it comes to you. The black man is going to mislead you, play head games with you, and then confuse you. And then you ask, what's the difference between dating some black men and the white man? Everything. Stop being loyal to a community of men who are not loyal to you. Explore your options, think outside of the box, and you'll be amazed at the experiences on the other side. Be smart, date smart, choose wisely, that nation. And remember, I told you.
And it was funny under the comments, it was black women, thousands of black women who agreed. And like I said, I think that's where black women get this mindset that white men don't do anything wrong, because they have older black women such as this woman telling them that it's going to be peaches and cream. All they got to do is just land a white man. And that's why you see the divestors and the swirlers, they're trying to do their level best to promote this type of lifestyle with a white man. They're literally going out of their way to make videos to try and attract white men. Don't matter if they're old or not, young, old, it don't matter. And this is where that messaging comes from. But I wanted to share something with you guys, and I actually did a review of this book a while back. Since we're reviewing books today, I want black women to see how white men actually feel about y'all. Okay? And that's why I always recommend, before you go out there and you jump out on a limb and think it's going to be peaches and cream, go read the Dating Divide book, Race and Desire in the Era of Online Romance. In particular, this woman's story, I think her name was Keisha. This is what white men, and this is not all white men, because there are some white men that actually do love black women. This is a passage from the book. Given that, and I quote, given that black women get very little interest from white men, experiences like Deborah's suggest that even that paltry interest may be driven by prurient interest. White men we interview confirmed the notion that black women were both highly sexual and unsuitable for long-lasting relationships. Okay? And that's actually from the book. And then also, and I quote, black women, on the other hand, are most likely to respond to overtures, messages sent by white men. It's from the same book. So for the black women, y'all need to be mindful of this. And I already said this before. When you talk about dating white men, listen to your wording. You're saying, I don't mind dating a white man. I'm trying to look for a white man to date. They hear you and they happily oblige by having sex with you, leaving it at dating, and not marrying you. I already told you. 2015, the most recent report, only 0.5% of married white men were married to black women. And I know this may crush your hopes and dreams because you guys keep parroting that outdated statistics of black men, black women and white men are the best marriages, have the lowest divorce rates. That shit is old. They updated everything and they found that black women are the least married and the most divorced among all men of all races. Okay? If you don't believe me, go look at the Bowling Green State University study where they did this in 2018 and also in 2021. Okay? So yeah, you guys need to be mindful before you go out there running around trying to think that you're going to just bag a white man when they're sitting there listening to you on social media, giving them all this free promotion, and they are taking advantage in the form of sex and also probably giving y'all babies, because we know that black women have 1 million more babies than black men have fathered in the past, 4 years? So there you have it. So yeah, so you guys need to be mindful of this. And I know that sounds like advice, but you see what's going on in the news right now. What's the young lady's name? Sade Robinson. And it's unfortunate, but when you start lowering your standards just to get with any white man, things like that could happen. Okay? God bless that young woman. And I know there's been some rumors that she had some tweets and she was talking crazy about black men. I haven't seen them yet. Nobody has sent them to me. So yeah, so all I know is, young black girl's gone for messing with some crazy ass white dude. Okay? So yeah, so that's wild work. So I was kind of shocked by that. I was like, man, she asked that question, and that's something that's normal. I'm pretty sure black men are normal to seeing stuff like that about them on social media. It's like, yeah, you need to just go to this woman's page and you see it all this. That's crazy. It's normalized now. So let's see here. Wait, Auto Star. Let me see if that fixes it. It said Auto Star. Nah, I didn't fix shit. Okay, let me read the super chats. Jay Renard with the 199 bomb. He said, sorry I'm late. It was chest day. Absolutely. Yeah, it was shoulders for me today. I did shoulders today. I weighed in. I was at 10.4 or 210 pounds, 210.4 pounds last week. Now I'm at 9.4 pounds. So I lost 1 pound in the week. So yeah, so I'm still doing well, still doing good. So this is where you start to plateau and you have to rework certain things to get your body to respond to you losing weight. So I've been doing this for a while. So let's see. Air Force Reek said, with the $5 super chat, said white ice is colder. Some black women think white men are their saviors. It's honestly embarrassing. I've seen black women do some of those videos saying, man, it's embarrassing to see y'all doing this, Dante Bryant, $5 bomb. He said, I already knew who it was. She got a whole black husband too. Yeah, I didn't. That was crazy. It blew my mind when I found that out. Sir, how are you okay with this? Yeah, every time I see a woman talking crazy about black men and she's married to a black man, I always want to see him. I want to talk to him like, man, you cool with this? Like, there's no way I could be married to a woman that's online talking crazy about black men when I'm sitting in the house with her. Oh, no, baby, that was just for them. No, I always worried about that. Like, what kind of dudes are these? Like, that's crazy. So, all right. So let's get to this exercise. And this is for a specific type of person who has this mindset. I'm not going to reveal what we're going to be doing this exercise on. This is a test for you guys because I want answers. Okay? Let's watch this video from Dave Ramsey, and I want you guys to listen to the story very carefully. All right? You guys are very intelligent in the chat, and I'm pretty sure you will pick it up. And once I put the picture up there, you will definitely understand where we're going with this. So fair use, fair use. Here we go.
for 3.5 years, and we just welcomed our first baby 6 months ago. I work construction, and my wife stays home with the baby. But yeah, I'm the one bringing in the paycheck. For the last 2 years, I've been saving every extra dollar for house down payment. Anyway, we've managed to stash about $21,000. It's not a fortune, but for us, it's huge. So here's where everything kind of went sideways. Our cat, turns out he's got this aggressive cancer on his jaw. Vet says they can try a surgery and chemo combo that might buy in time, but it's 17 grand up front and no promise. My wife loves that cat and wants to go all in for the treatment. Technically, we do have 21K, but that's the whole house fund. And even if the surgery works, the vet said recovery's rough. We'd need more follow-up visits, meds, maybe another procedure, could be thousands more. I tried to explain the math. You know, if we spend it, we reset the clock on the house. Now she barely talks to me. So yeah, I don't know what to do. I love my wife. I love She barely talks to me.
Hold on.
More follow-up visits, meds, maybe another procedure.
What the hell is going on with StreamYard? Hold on.
Thousands more. I tried to explain the math. You know, if we spend it, we reset the clock on the house. Now she barely talks to me. So yeah, I don't know what to do. I love my wife. I love our baby. Heck, I even love the cat, but I also dreamed of handing her house keys this time next year.
All right. Y'all heard the story. Where my partnership folks at? This man is my partner. Clear definition, independent. This type of relationship is conditional. Perception of relationship equality. Does it conform to a gynocentric society? Yes. Business / mutually beneficial in nature. Right there at the bottom. Both lead, both follow, 2 leaders. Now, for my partnership folks, how do you solve that problem with the cat and the house fund? Partnership, this is the issue that you're faced. How do you solve it? Remember, partnership, both lead, both follow. What do? Because if you say get rid of the cat, then your wife is going to hate you. And no, you can't use the excuse, well, I'll just get you a new cat. She don't want a new cat. She want the one that y'all got, right? But if you pay $17,000 to cure the cat, then you won't have the house fund. You know, they financially strapped, and it was a kind of a miracle for them to save $21,000 on the husband's behalf because he wanted to buy a new home. What do? I'm going to read the comments. Because I think partnership folks need to see these type of scenarios in real time. Because there's no such thing as a both lead, both follow type of relationship. It can't happen. Somebody ultimately has to make the decision. Okay? And then honestly, like I said, if he makes the decision to delete the cat, she's going to, you know, hate him for the rest of her life. And that's going to probably be one of the reasons why she divorces him. So you have to think about that, partner. Right? Let me see. Let's see here. Dante Bryant, $2 super chat said that cat would have had very proper home going. But remember, let's say if it's a partnership, she don't want that. What you gonna do? Woke Quill said 17 grand and the cat probably deletes in 2 years. F out of here. Ronnie Z said veto power on whose behalf? Who voting? What y'all gonna do? Rock, paper, scissors? And I'm like I said, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Crazy. We talking about this book. Just playing devil's advocate. I understand what y'all doing. We trying to work through this. So yeah, I'm trying to help partner people understand. Okay. Yeah. See, Friedman Zerto says she'll hate him either way. You think so? Either way? Raphael said night. Okay. Air Force Reek, $5 super chat. Thank you, brother. Said no way in the hell I would get that surgery. Bye, cat. See you next lifetime. But what y'all gonna do? It's partnership. So both of y'all make the decision. Jay Renard said cat is getting put to sleep and we can have a memorial in the new home. She'll get over it. You think so? Ola says she'll be okay. Pullman said, tell her to get a job and start saving if she wants to save the cat. Okay. Let's see here. Amanda Vice said, when he said we saved, he meant I saved the money. Yeah, and you could tell he said that he was scraping money together to save. So, and honestly, he was doing it for his wife, trying to get her a new house. So let's see here. Ola said, this is wild that this is a real discussion in their marriage. They have bigger issues. Yeah, but this is what happens when you have like these partnership dynamics. And I remember I talked about this on one of the Pop the Balloons. I hear young people saying that all the time. I'm looking for my person or my partner. I'm looking for a partnership. These are the type of roadblocks that you may run into if you run your house like this, because if both lead and both follow, you have to determine who leads in this scenario. Because I mean, hey, you may make the decision one week, but she wants to keep this dang cat. So Raphael says, I see you in court. Erroneous, he said, wait, she ain't contributed. Ain't no partnership there. You can't tell her that. Y'all hear these women talking about, I still want to work, but I'm going to keep my money. And yo ass, you pay for the bills. That's crazy. Women go 3 years to school for nursing, work for 5 years and like, oh, okay, now I want a man to take care of me. You went through all this school. Now you're going to try. It don't make no sense, man. Air Force Rick said, I understand that it is a partnership, but someone has to make hard decisions. And usually that's not the woman, but you can't tell them that. Remember, women are the ones that want equality, partnership in marriage these days. And there are some men that agree to that, and I'm not the one to be throwing stones at somebody's household or whatever, but this is a real scenario that partner folks need to think about. Okay. Ron P said that cat finna go to the upper room like on Life. Yeah, but she probably gonna divorce you. So and if it's a partnership, she gonna want half. I want half. All right. Ron Barnett said can't get jiggy with the partnership. That's what it is. Lucid says she'll hate him either way. Catch 22, delete the cat. She'll call him inconsiderate. Sacrifice some money. She'll call him out for not working hard enough. Get that cat out of here. Yeah, it could be true. That's a good point. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't have an answer. You guys have sent in some, but I just wanted to play that video to help partner folks understand. This is something that you have to deal with. That's why it's important to have a person who is the actual leader to make the final decision. And typically that is going to be the man, if you believe in Christianity. You know what I'm saying? So Christ, husband, wife, kids. So yes, your wife is valued counsel. Like what Fantasia said, the man is the head, the woman is the neck. Yes, you will consult with your wife and ask her on situations that deal with the household and could change like the trajectory of your lives, just day-to-day things. You always discuss it with your wife. You have to. You don't want to be a dictator in a relationship. So y'all discuss it and come to the best solution possible. But sometimes you're going to have to say no. And if you have an understanding wife, a good wife, then she'll understand after you explain, hey, man, we can't spend money on this because we got this in the works, but we'll revisit this next quarter to see how the finances shake out. And I'm using finances as an example because it's the easiest one to use in these types of scenarios. Okay. Let's see here. Leon Henny King, I love that name. $2 super chat said his mother, her mother, sister needs to talk to her. Yeah, that would be good. Get some family members involved. Yeah. Bad Black Gamer said no point of buying a house if you get a divorce. Is gone either way. Yeah, and I mean, maybe you want a divorce, so you never know, man. But I thought that was a good video, so I'm gonna leave it right there, and I'm definitely gonna leave the question out there once I clip this up. Yeah, partner folks, what you gonna do? All right, so I got all the super chats so far, and again, guys, my apologies. We experienced some technical difficulties with StreamYard. Can't pull the super chats up on the screen. However, I will read them. We had 11 so far. If I'm counting, I never count them, but I can see them right here. So yeah, so we got 11 so far. I greatly appreciate all the support. Thank y'all. Oh, when's the next finals game? Is it tomorrow or Wednesday? I want to make sure I'm on schedule because I know we got some Pop the Balloons to review. I don't want to be. Let me make sure I don't interrupt y'all's time because I'll be wondering. Yeah, Wednesday. So we good. Yeah, we definitely good. We're gonna be able to stream hopefully tomorrow. Yeah, we'll be good. So let me get Olua in here. She says, I don't care if that cat was in the family for years. I'm not choosing an animal or my husband and livelihood. Yeah. You thinking logically. I mean, but people are so attached to their pets. And you know what's funny, man? And shit, I don't want to get too emotional up here, but there was a woman. She had a dog named Sunday on TikTok. And I followed that woman, man, because she used to dress this dog up, this black lab, in like different clothes. Like she was working at like Waffle House. It was just a funny thing. And then I remember maybe about a year ago, she posted that her dog had cancer. And they were, working to try and, get the dog back to health or whatever. And it had worked at some point. And then it came back and she was doing whatever she could. And then I remember I opened up TikTok recently and the dog had passed. And I was sad, man. I was like, God, dog. And she made a nice little video tribute for the dog. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I haven't got a dog yet. I mentioned it before, but I know that I would get attached to the dog. And, I've seen too many people die. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm ready to handle that. And I know I'm thinking dark. We're talking about getting a dog. But, it just bothered me. But, yeah, Sunday, the black lab passed away, man. So rest in peace to Sunday. So let's see here. HVAC Man 23, what up, though? $5 super chat said, if a lot of these married dudes tell the woman no, they're going to get divorced. That's why I say these men have been married 20 years, be getting beat. Get beat. That's funny. Let's see here. The Thai Pro said, my dog passed away last February and messed me up. Yeah, man, people are attached to those dogs. I definitely know I will be attached. So I'm like, man, let me think about this. So I'm going to try and fix this. Hold on. Okay. Let me see if that worked. Nope. All right. Mona said, that was so sad. My daughter was hurt about our girl Sunday. My Shayla. Yeah, that was sad, man. And I told you I'd be following the most mundane stuff. It's dogs, cats doing foolery. I used to follow that. That one cat used to troll the neighborhoods, beating up other cats. Y'all remember that cat that went viral? I haven't seen that cat around. I hope the cat's still okay. But it was a cat that was rumbling with everybody. The owner put a camera on him, and she just used to let him loose. And he would roam the streets, just starting random beefs with other cats. And then would come home like nothing happened. It was that, and then the food stuff. I had to cut down on watching these dang food reviews because I'm dieting, and some of that food look amazing. One I'm actually going to cheat with. Well, we're going to cheat with tonight. So it's like a little dumpling spot. I was like, oh, yeah, we about to get to it. There you go. Mona said, yes, Max. Yes, Max, that was bullying everyone. I think that was his name. Yeah, I think it was Max. Man, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's that was funny. I used to watch that damn thing. Roaming the streets, rumbling with everybody. Okay. Now we get to the main event. I know y'all like, man, let's get to the book review. I have some amazing clips for you guys. We are definitely going to enjoy this live stream. Please make sure you like the stream as you come in. So, Outwitting the Devil, The Secrets of Freedom and Success by Napoleon Hill. Man, Napoleon Hill, this dude, he used his legendary ability to get to the root of human potential by digging deep to reveal how fear, procrastination, anger, and jealousy prevent us from realizing our personal goals. This book was once considered too controversial to publish. And it was written by Hill in 1938 following the publication of his classic bestseller, Think and Grow Rich. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of that book before. Napoleon Hill's wife, Annie Lou, and his later, his nephew's wife, Frankie Johnson, they objected to the book's content, finding the portrayal of the devil to be too controversial. So the book remained unpublished for over 70 years, after Hill's death in 1970. And then it was published and finally released in 2011 by the Napoleon Hill Foundation. So listen to what I'm saying, guys. This book was written in 1938, and you're going to be questioning through the whole time, how does this sound like it was written yesterday? Because the information is so relevant, you're like, it's no way possible. They got to be lying. And I literally tried to do my research to see if somebody had written this book, like earlier or something like that, or later. But no, he published it, or he created it in 1938, and it's relevant to this day. So just keep that in mind as we go through these points. But let's get to the first. I got some of the intro for you guys. You will definitely enjoy this. So sit back, relax, and listen to Napoleon Hill have his conversation with the devil. All right, let's get to it. Fair use.
The interview with the devil. I have uncovered the secret code by which I can pick up your thoughts. I have come to ask you some very plain questions. I demand that you give me direct and truthful answers. Are you ready for the interview, Mr.
Okay, so Jesus Christ, what's going on here? All right, so you heard that. He said, Napoleon Hill is telling the devil, I demand that you give me direct answers. Okay? And this is going to be a key point. Let's continue.
Devil.
Yes, I am. But you must address me with more respect. During this interview, you will address me as Your Majesty.
By what right do you demand such royal respect?
You should know I control 98% of the people of your world. Do you not think that entitles me to rate as royalty?
Have you proof of your claim?
Yes, plenty of it.
Of what does your proof consist?
Of many things. If you want answers, you will address me as Your Majesty. Some things you will understand, some you will not. In order that you may get my viewpoint, I shall describe myself and correct the false notions people have of me and my place of abode.
That is a fine idea, Your Majesty. Start by telling me where you...
Okay, so let's stop right there. So that was a deal that he actually made with the devil. In order for the devil to be truthful and honest, the devil requests that he refers to him as Your Majesty. And that's a level of power that some people have. I don't know if y'all remember that Seinfeld episode where Elaine was dating Maestro. You remember that? It was this guy his name was Bob. And he was like, man, I want you guys to call me Maestro, even though he only did, conducting for the policeman's benevolent fund or some shit like that. So people will do that. I want you to call me as this or whatever. So he made a deal with the devil. If you tell me the truth, then I will call you Your Majesty. And what's funny, when I was reading this book, I was like, man, why would the devil tell us all of his secrets? And you start to think, maybe he's so cocky that he feels that I could tell you what the hell I'm going to do, and people going to still do my bidding. Because if you remember what he said, he thinks that he controls 98 out of 100 people. So only 2 people are actually non-drifters. And we will get into that later on. So I was like, maybe he's so cocky that he's like, yeah, I could tell them the truth and they can still do, whatever I want them to. Sound familiar? So let's get back to it. Fair use.
Live. Then describe your physical appearance.
My physical appearance? Why, my dear Mr. Earthbound, I have no physical body. I would be handicapped by such an encumbrance as those in which you earthbound creatures live. I consist of negative energy, and I live in the minds of people who fear me. I also occupy 1/2 of every atom of physical matter and every unit of mental and physical energy. Perhaps you will better understand my nature if I tell you I am the negative portion of the atom.
Oh, I see what you are preparing to claim. You were laying the foundation to say that if it were not for you, there would be no world, no stars, no electrons, no atoms, no human beings, nothing. Is that correct?
True. Absolutely true.
Well, if you only occupy one half of energy and matter, who occupies the other half?
The other half is occupied by my opposition.
Opposition? What do you mean?
The opposition is what you earthbound call God.
So you have the universe divided up with God. Is that your claim?
Not my claim, but the actual fact. Before this interview is finished, you will understand why my claim is true. You will also understand why it has to be true, or there could be no world such as yours, no earthbound creatures such as you. I am no beast with a forked tongue and a spiked tail.
But you do control the minds of 98 out of every 100 people. You said so yourself. Who causes all the misery in this 98% devil-controlled world if you do not?
I have not said that I do not cause all the misery of the world. On the other hand, I boast of it. It is my business to represent the negative side of everything, including the thoughts of you earthbound people. How else could I control people? My opposition controls positive thought. I control negative thought.
How do you gain control of the minds of people?
Oh, that is easy. I merely move in and occupy the unused space of the human brain. I sow the seeds of negative thought in the minds of people so I can occupy and control the space.
You must have many tricks and devices by which you gain and hold control of the human mind.
To be sure, I employ tricks and devices to control human thought. My devices are clever ones, too.
Go ahead and describe your clever tricks, Your Majesty.
One of my cleverest devices for mind control is fear. I plant the seed of fear in the minds of people, and as these seeds germinate and grow, through use, I control the space they occupy. The 6 most effective fears are the fear of poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death.
Which of these 6 fears serves you most often, Your Majesty?
The first and the last, poverty and death.
Poverty and death. But first, let's address him thinking that he's an equal to God. He said God is his opposition, or what the kids say, op, right? So again, this is just Napoleon Hill. He's, written the character of the devil and he's explaining it through that lens or whatever, right? So let's address fear. And this goes back, I was, doing an inventory of my life growing up. And of course, I'm going to put some military references in there as well. But dealing with fear is a very tough one because you don't want to admit it to people that you do fear certain things. And one particular situation that happened in the military with me, it was definitely a fearful moment. And it was when we had to represent ourselves as like the 7 Air Force members that got selected to go to Fort Benning to become airborne certified. And in order to get that spot, you have to train harder than what the PT standards are with the Army just to get selected to go to airborne school. And I tried everything. I was doing my best. I was doing my PT. I was maxing out on my runs and all this type of stuff, push-ups, sit-ups. And I finally got selected, right? And so I was like, cool. So we went there, 7 of us. And then I told you guys before, when you go to an Army course, they try and smoke you because they like, oh man, the Air Force, they soft, they weak or whatever. And so we had to show out. And at that time, I was an avid runner. So PT, that was nothing to me. And I was smaller. So doing the push-ups and sit-ups and all the other stuff that they was trying to do to smoke us didn't faze me. But when we got to, we started learning how to fall from the ground portion to the tower portion and then to the air portion. Everything was going smooth. I was, making my way through the class or whatever and just wait until we got to our 5 jumps just so we can get our wings. And I remember when it was time, to pack chutes or whatever, and we had our ranger buddy, so to speak, and he was checking mine, I was checking his. It didn't hit me until we got about 1,500 feet up, and then we started to descend at a safe level to jump. And I remember they, I did so well in the chorus. They was like, man, who wants to be the cherry jump? If you are in the military and you've been airborne, you know what the cherry jump is, right? That's the first person out. That was me. But I made a habit of doing that on purpose. But my fear probably wasn't the jump. It was actually the fear of being embarrassed. Because like I said, I was Air Force with all these Army folks, and then I had my, my folks there with me. I was like, man, am I scared to jump, or I'm scared to be embarrassed? Because if I turn around, then yeah, that's gonna look bad. So I ended up jumping out just because I didn't want to be embarrassed. And that was a certain fear that I had to get over. And once you get that first one in, you feel like you cheated death. So it's like, man, any other thing that happens now is easy to me. However, I made a habit of doing that throughout my military career because some people learn by listening. You have different types of learning. Some people learn by listening. I learned through application. And every time we'd have something to train with, we would listen to the instructor, teach us how to do it, and then we would have to qualify on that particular task that our instructors told us to do. And so me being smart, being a smart ass and trying to manipulate the system, I would always volunteer first, because what I would do is mirror what he just said because it's fresh in my head. Have y'all ever did this before? Where it's like you hear somebody tell you what to do, and it's like, okay, it's time to qualify. Who want to go first? I'll be like, me. And then, yeah, come on up. And they never caught on. But the funny thing was, I was just doing what he showed me. I didn't actually digest any of the information yet. I was just modeling what he did so I could pass the qualification. So I'll get up there, do exactly what he did. Oh man, you did an amazing job. But my real learning came from watching other people fail. So I would do my portion early, then everybody else would go up and I would see what they did wrong. Okay, don't do that when we in the field. Next person come up, they would mess up. Okay, don't do that. Don't do that. So by the time 10 people went by, 20 people went by, I had already grasped all the information, but it wasn't there when it first started. And that was my way of manipulating the training system until I had a smart ass instructor. He was like, nah, you always trying to go first. You always can wait. But by that time, I'd already figured out what I need to do. So yeah, it was good to go. But I used to manipulate the system. And that goes back to when you were like in college or in high school. Some people go to college to simply pass classes, right? And some people go to college to actually learn. I remember when I first started in the military, I used to try and pass just because I wanted to get to the next step. I wasn't actually learning anything until I found certain things that interest me, nutrition and public health. That's when I really started to learn once I, went through my bachelor's program onto my master's. So you can kind of gauge what, you just want to pass so you can get through it, or what you actually want to learn. And everybody that has a degree, you guys probably understand that you got to take those intro courses, those filler courses, English and shit, English composition, humanities, all that foolery. And you like, man, I got to do all this shit. I'm going to school for nutrition. Those are the classes you just like, man, I'm just trying to pass. You're not really putting no thought into it until you get to the stuff that you're actually interested in. And that's why I tell people, I think my master's program was easier for me because it was all revolved around my profession or the degree that I wanted to get, my public health degree. But when you go for your bachelor's, you have to do all of these filler courses just so you can get to the good stuff, so to speak. And you kind of suffer through that. But the people who are smart, they can learn from anything. So yeah, so that was just a quick story about, fear and how I used to kind of manipulate the system until somebody caught on. So F him. Wow, he's a good dude. So yeah. There you go. Ola said, yeah, the prerequisites. Yeah, oh my God. Sweet Jesus. I used to like, man, let me. There you go. Incognito said 5 jump chump. Yeah, man. So like I said, you if you've been airborne, you understand what I'm talking about. And you probably get that same feeling. And that's something you only experience if you like skydive. Because when I first jumped out of a plane, I thought, I could live forever. I'm like, man, I could, live through anything if I did this shit. I was supposed to die up here. So yeah, that was just a funny situation. But so the next video, and remember, 98%. He said he got in trouble at 98%. And as the book goes along, you start to understand that the devil is not actually trying to get you to do evil. He's so cocky that he's giving you the answers. But if he thinks that he controls 98%, he wants you to prove that that's not true. Okay? All right, so let's get to the next one. I think it was oh yeah. So this is where okay. Now this is the good stuff because I'm gonna talk specifically to the guys and black men in particular. So get ready. Let's listen to environmental influence. Environmental influence. Here we go. Fair use.
Principle.
The next principle is environmental influence.
Go ahead and describe the working principle of environmental influences as a determining factor in human destinies.
Environment consists of all the mental, spiritual, and physical forces which affect and influence human beings.
What connection, if any, is there between environmental influences and hypnotic rhythm?
Hypnotic rhythm solidifies and makes permanent the thought habits of human beings. Thought habits are stimulated by environmental influences. In other words, the material on which thoughts are fed comes from one's environment. Thought habits are made permanent by hypnotic rhythm.
Did you hear that? Thoughts, environmental rhythm. Let's get back to it.
What is the most important part of one's environment? The part which determines, more than all others, whether an individual makes positive or negative use of his mind?
The most important part of one's environment is that created by his association with others. All people absorb and take over, either consciously or unconsciously, the thought habits of those with whom they associate closely.
Do you mean by this that constant association with a person whose thought habits are negative influences one to form negative thought habits?
Yes.
Did you hear that? Your association with people that always think negative is going to end up influencing you. Okay? I want y'all to remember that when you come to my channel. If I was always negative and talking bad about other folks and other people in different groups and categories, then I am a reflection, or you guys will be a reflection of my chat. You guys know that I don't do certain things out of respect for, let's say, black women. And I get pushed back in these spaces a lot for that, even though the information that I'm giving you guys stands on its own. Okay, let's continue.
The law of hypnotic rhythm forces every human being to form thought habits which harmonize with the dominating influences of his environment, particularly that part of his environment created by his association with other minds.
Then it is important that one select one's close associates with great care.
Yes. One's intimate associate should be chosen with as much care as one chooses the food with which he feeds his body, with the object always of associating with people whose dominating thoughts are positive, friendly, and harmonious.
Which class of associates has the greatest influence upon one?
One's partner in marriage and in the home, and one's associates in his occupation. After that come close friends and acquaintances. Casual acquaintances and strangers have but little influence on one.
The material on which thoughts are fed come from one's environment. Thought habits are made permanent by hypnotic rhythm. Have you ever felt your attitude or mood become negative just by being in the presence of someone negative? Was it your spouse, child, or business partner? Hill suggests that you need to interject thoughts that are positive, friendly, and harmonious, not only to counteract those negative thoughts, but also to influence that person into a more positive space. If it is your business partner, evaluate if the relationship is one you want to save, or make the decision to move away from the partner's negativity.
All right. So you guys probably know why I put that in there, because it kind of reminds you of the social media spaces, in particular, Black relationship conversations. Okay. And remember, this book was written in 1938. And that's why I push you guys so much to remove that negativity from your heart and remove that negativity from the things that you watch on social media. Okay. And like I said, if I was up here acting crazy and things like that, it would be unexpected because I didn't build my platform off that. It's other platforms that do that, and I wish they would stop because they do influence a lot of people in the chat. And you guys take those ideas and you take those narratives, not understanding how those content creators actually feel about you, and they will never tell you because, some reasons, some monetary reasons. But I will say this, because I went back and forth with making the decision to address this publicly, knowing that it could potentially affect my platform. However, it wouldn't be right of me to let this shit fester without telling you guys, okay? Recently, I found a black man in his 60s under my comment section and under one of my videos talking crazy about black women. And when I addressed him, he mentioned that he was some sort of a relationship coach. So I had to ask myself, what kind of coach would carry himself in such a way and believe that he's fit to counsel anyone on relationships? After I blocked him, I started to think about all of the men that I blocked on my platform for doing the same thing. And like I said, I sat back and I watched a lot of y'all talk shit about women who are obviously attractive because you watch some content creator tell you not to give women compliments because it boosts their egos. I've seen men in the comment section championing the idea of men having surrogates to birth children and raise them alone because they think that women aren't worth the commitment. I've also watched some of you men complain about women using sign language to insult you, complaining about, what they say. But then when I read the comments, you guys are doing the same thing. So reading all that and learning all that I've learned over these past 4 years, it led me to say this. The way that some of you black men carry yourselves on social media, not only does it look unfavorable to the women, but it also looks unfavorable to the men that you follow on social media. Listen to me what I'm telling you, okay? To be more specific, it looks unfavorable to me. And it's one of the main reasons why I would never mess with a lot of you guys on the outside of social media. Now, after I said that, if your first thought was, I never wanted to mess with you outside of the internet anyway, then I was talking directly to you. So I solved the problem for you. All right? And I get it. You're probably saying that media men, you don't talk crazy about black women and they still view you the same way that they view us. I know, and I actually agree. But if I allowed someone else's feelings to dictate the way that I operate as a black man, then I'm no better than the ones who hate me. Okay? And I'm glad we're doing this because I learned so much from the books that I read, and I hope this is getting through to some of the guys that practice some of the stuff that I'm talking about. So, if anything, I think I've been able to show you guys that there is a way to get your point across without stooping to the level of those who hate you. And I want you all to practice that under my comment section because I try and do my part. Every time I see some unruly woman or some uninformed troll in the comment section, I get rid of them because I know how it affects your mental health. Even if you don't. And let me address the black men with smaller followings who take my videos, Kendra G videos, and any other videos that you disagree with, and you feel that it's necessary to follow in the footsteps of some of your favorite content creators by insulting black women just because you think that it'll make black men like you. Let me tell you, it won't. I don't like none of you niggas. And I pray that me saying that doesn't mean anything to you, which is why I would never fuck with you. Okay? And I want to be very clear on that. So to the men that think it's cool to carry yourselves in a disrespectful manner on social media, I want you to listen to me. Your favorite content creators, listen, you are no better than the men who fund an OnlyFans model's lifestyle. Let me explain. Whenever you see one of these girls unable to find a good man, the logical thing would be to ask, what do you mean? There are thousands, millions of men who subscribe to your channel. You could just marry one of them. You know what her response would be? Hell nah. I would never marry one of those losers. Replace the OnlyFans chick with your favorite content creator who's probably married and financially stable, and then replace the losers who fund the OnlyFans model's lifestyle with you. Make sense? You are no better than those guys that fund an OnlyFans model's lifestyle. Okay? And like I said, I know that telling you this may affect my channel, but I wouldn't have a channel if I couldn't be myself. All right? I just want to be clear. So I wanted to say that, man. And like I said, I sat back and I watched, some of the most toxic shit in the comment section. And I thought about clipping it up, putting screenshots, but y'all know this shit happens, man. So if anything, on my channel, don't be shocked when you see me talking directly to the men, particular black men, because I've been doing this since I started this channel. Okay? This is not all about what women do wrong. Don't come in my comment section saying, man, you always dragging the men for the way that they dress. Bro, it ain't no dragging. We grown-ass men. We ain't women. There is a double standard. Yes, there is a double standard. The way that I can talk to you guys as grown-ass men than the way that I talk to these women. And none of that has to do with me not telling women the truth. Okay? We are not like women. And quite frankly, it's embarrassing that I see some of you guys using that as an excuse. Women do it. Y'all got to stop that shit, man. And like I said, some of y'all favorite content creators, they champion this shit. They will go out there, say some of the craziest stuff about black women. Y'all in the comment section giving them super chats and shit. But if you saw them on the street, they wouldn't fuck with you because they think y'all weird. And like I said, we know that a lot of these guys are married. They're successful. And they looking at y'all sitting there carrying all this damn negativity. And they feed it because the monetary gains are crazy. And I told you guys this before. My channel would be way larger if I was doing that type of foolery. If I got some of the women that I talk to or talk about on the members channel, when we do our, little video meetings, yeah, I get a lot of women that want to be on the show, but I'm not going to bring them up here to get cooked. It's just not me. I would be literally playing a character if you guys saw me cussing women out on here, because even my family wouldn't recognize me. Nobody would recognize me. Like, man, when the hell did he start getting like that? That would be a character. This is me talking to the dudes, giving y'all advice, talking to the ladies, being respectful. Being respectful doesn't make you, some sort of punk or nice guy. No, man, you good men. Just like Jordan Peterson said, Dr. Jordan Peterson said, being a good man doesn't mean that you're harmless. And I want y'all to get that through your heads. Okay? That's all I'm saying, man. So just think about that. Just something to think about before you move on. And I know it feels good to, cuss women out and go back and forth, bro. I promise you. That shit don't look masculine at all. And I don't know how much stock you guys put into my opinion, but if I'm sitting there telling you that I do pretty well for myself, man, and I see some places where black men in particular can improve, and giving people fuel, to fire their hatred for us, I really wish I would stop that. Okay? Because they look for that. Let those women go off and do whatever the hell they want to do. And it's okay to have a back and forth. As long as you ain't getting disrespectful, just say what you got to say and move on. I told you guys that's what I do. And I was, I always question why people want me to go on shows to debate statistics. You don't debate statistics and research unless you have something to refute it. I'm not going to use my statistics and research against somebody's opinion. And then we go around the panel. Do you believe this or not? What is there not to believe? That's why you got blackdemographics.com putting that little, paragraph in there saying, well, black men, they usually don't put their names on birth certificates because they know that black men were actually, we were feeling good about ourselves, but they was like, you know what? We see all these messages, so let me go ahead and throw this monkey wrench in the system. So when black women go to this website, they'll see that these statistics of black men, only 46% of black men ever fathering children, it may not be true. That's what they did. And I addressed that. It's crazy. So yeah, man, I try and make sure that y'all have the important knowledge so you can go out there and do what you need to do. So keep that in mind, man, before when you go on one of your favorite content creators channels and they talking shit about women, ask yourself, is this dude strapped for cash? Is this dude married? Then why the hell he talking like this? Why he making us feel like this? Why we got to carry all this negativity and you going back to your house, living the lavish life? based off of your super chats when you displaying your hatred. Think about that, man. Truest dude, $5 super chat said, bad association spoils useful habits. 1 Corinthians. I like that, man. That's cool. Thank you. HVAC man, $5 super chat said, Eric Killmonger didn't learn this lesson, tried to fight hate with hate. He lost his life. Yeah, that was great. Let's see here. Hey, is it true? I hope this ain't true. I was reading the Comics Digest, and they said that they wrote into the comic that the new Black Panther was a white man. I think it's true. Air Force Reek to us, which says I definitely respect what you said, Meaty Man. There are too many black male content creators who talk negatively about black women. It's cool to give constructive criticism, but then they cross the line a lot. Yeah, man, and that's the main reason why, you know, I haven't been on certain shows when people request it, because I have to do my research. I don't want to be tied to certain brands where I've seen guys, they'll send me a link or something like that, and, you know, ask requests to come on the show. And I'm like, man, I can't be associated with that. And again, I know that I'm lumped into the same category as those guys. I wrestle with that all the time. It's nothing that I could do to differentiate myself other than putting out quality content and trying to keep it as respectful as possible. And that doesn't mean that I don't get frustrated. I have videos out there where I am frustrated, you know, but at the core of it, man, I know I'm in it for the right reasons. And I know some people like, man, it's just social media. You ain't got to take it serious. I don't. I can sit there and do Pop the Balloon reviews and get paid very well for it. But I'm like, man, nah, this is what I'm interested in. So I'm going to try and bring it to my channel. And hopefully it inspires some people to start reading more and looking for, you know, more knowledge, man, and stop being so stagnant and complacent, you know, in certain spaces like YouTube. So trying to help out, man. JT Coin Rings, one of the nice super chats said, salute Media Man in chat. What up, though? Now it's a show. We got JT in the building. We got Mr. Walker, $5 bomb. Make sure you put your links in the description if you can, Pooh Man. I would greatly appreciate it for SBC Nation and also the cart before the horse, man. Their brothers cooking. Mr. Walker, $5 super chat says, salute, brother. Good to see you here, man. Blessings to you and yours. Let's see here. Somebody said, Ty Pro said they trying to make T'Challa son a white dude. Yeah, I seen that. I was like, oh, that's going to be crazy. Well, I mean, we do it a lot. So Little Mermaid was black. So yeah, that's wild though, man. Seeing Black Panther white. I think he could do a cameo, but don't make him white. Come on, man. We need Black Panther. Let us have Black Panther. Don't try and gentrify that. That would be wild. So yeah, so let's get back to the review of Outwitting the Devil. Hold on, where we at here? Oh yeah, this is good. So this portion, and I love this phrase. It's not right, but it's, and you guys will see what I'm talking about. So let's continue with the book review. Here we go. Fair use.
Of fear extend the space I occupy in the human mind.
Your Majesty, will you explain how you gained this control over human beings?
The story is too long to be told in a few words. It began over 1 million years ago when the first man began to think. Up to that time I had control over all mankind, but enemies of mine discovered the power of positive thought, placed it in the minds of men, and then began a battle on my part to remain in control. So far I have done quite well by myself, having lost only 2% of the people to the opposition.
I take it from your answer that men who think are your enemies. Is that right?
It is not right, but it is correct.
You hear that? He said it's not right, but it's correct. And that's his bravado that he speaks with. He's like, man, I hate to admit that it's right, you know, but it is correct. So people who think, man, and that's what I'm trying to get you guys to do. Think outside the box. And I know you guys notice that sometimes I challenge certain, I guess, talking points that are in these spaces. And the guys get mad when I do that because I actually make you think. And one of the craziest ones that I've heard these spaces What is how do you correct your wife's bad behavior? How do you correct your wife's bad behavior? You tell me that in the chat. What do you do? What does that look like? Have y'all heard this before? How do you correct your wife or your girlfriend's bad behavior? And I'll read some of the chats, but I really want to understand. And for the married men, I want y'all, how do you correct that? I've heard that said multiple times in these spaces, like, yeah, you got to correct bad behavior. How? Especially when you're married. What you gonna do? Get a divorce if you don't like something that your wife ain't doing for you, or she did something wrong? How do you correct that? Me personally, I was always taught, if the correction is embedded in her submitting to you, she gonna correct herself because she trusts you and she loves you. You're the leader. She already submitted to you. So correcting her bad behavior is her actually correcting herself because she knows that she's wrong. And that's when the accountability comes in, just like accountability on your behalf. But when you say correcting a wife's bad behavior and people are going out there saying, well, yeah, I'm going to take away some of her money. Brother, you think that's going to work in a marriage? Or I'm going to take away certain privileges. You're not going to have sex with her? And that's punishing her? Bro, y'all got to think about these things. When your wife submits to you and she does something wrong, in a good marriage, she's supposed to take accountability and change her ways. That's correcting the bad behavior. Once you tell her that she did something wrong, if she don't correct it herself, then that's a problem. And that goes before marriage as well, especially before marriage. If you see that that's a habit, get rid of that woman. Okay? Because you think it's going to stop when you get married. It's not. It's not. It's actually going to get worse because she got more skin in the game. And you got a lot more to lose when your ass get married. You don't think women know that? Even if you got a prenup. Women know how they have more control in a marriage. Let's just say that much, okay? And I get it. Only about 10% of people or women get alimony. That's a whole new line that women like to say. But going through a divorce is a tough situation, man. So, yeah, so when you say correcting a woman's bad behavior, that sounds a little bit 1950-ish to me. I don't know. But yeah, so she gonna correct herself, man. And we talk about accountability and all this type of stuff. Bro, if your wife got your last name, she didn't already she's literally telling you that she's supposed to take accountability. It's in the submission. Okay? So think about that, man, before y'all start listening to some dude send you off telling you to correct the bad behavior. That woman gonna leave you. If that's what you want, cool. But you're under the impression that's gonna correct it. And she's going to start to act right. If a woman continuously testing you, that's a problem. What the hell are you still there for? Now I'm questioning you. Are you a glutton for punishment? I don't know, man. I always think about certain things. Let's see here. All right, let's get back to the review. Where'd it go? It is not right, but it is fair. Fair use, fair use.
I inspire people to use flattery in every human relationship where its use is possible, because those who are influenced by it become easy victims of the drifting habit.
Flattery. Hey, this one, hold on, let me bring myself up here. Pay attention, both men and women. This is good. Flattery.
Control anyone who is amenable to flattery?
Very easily. As I have already told you, flattery is of major importance in alluring people into the habit of drifting.
At what age are people most susceptible to flattery?
Age has nothing to do with one's susceptibility to flattery. People respond to it in one way or another from the time they become conscious of their own existence until they die.
Through what motive can women be most easily flattered?
Their vanity. Tell a woman she is pretty or that she wears clothes well.
Have you ever seen how excited women get when they find clothes with pockets, though?
Me never even know that is not a thing.
Brother, comments, talk truth. make a woman find like a dress and it have pockets. That's the first thing. That's going to be the highlight of the dress. Like, oh, no, it's cute, right?
And can you show me your pockets?
There's pockets?
Yeah.
You're kidding. Oh my gosh! There's pockets! I love dresses with pockets. It's a cute denim dress. It doesn't have. Oh! It has pockets! I didn't think it had pockets! It's gonna be a good day. I had no idea that this had pockets. Anyway, this is gonna make it even better.
I like the dress.
Thanks. It has pockets.
What motive is most effective in
Ladies, is that true? Y'all like dresses with pockets? My wife said, yeah, it is absolutely true. She said, yes. I love a dress with pockets. Let's continue.
harpooning men?
Egotism, with a capital E. Tell a man he has a strong Herculean body or that he is a great business tycoon, and he will purr like a cat and smile like an opossum. After that, you know what happens.
Are all men like that?
Oh, no. 2 out of every 100 have their egotism so thoroughly under control that even an expert flatterer couldn't get under their skins with a double-edged butcher knife.
How does a cunning woman apply her art of flattery and attract?
Now, hold on. This was written in 1938. How does a cunning woman get to a man? This is good.
Attracting men.
Great heavens, man, do I have to draw a picture of her method for you? Have you no imagination?
Oh, yes, I have imagination enough, Your Majesty. But I'm thinking of the poor dupes of the world who need to understand the exact technique with which they may be flattered into the habit of drifting. Go on and tell us how a woman can harpoon rich and presumably smart men.
This is a devilish trick to play on women, but since you demand the information, I am helpless to withhold it. Women influence men through a technique consisting first of ability to inject soft, cooing baby tones into their voices, and second, by closing their eyes into a half-closed position, which registers hypnotism in connection with the flattery of men.
In the eyes, Chico. There you go. Look at the eyes.
And you mean to tell me you don't want to hit this?
Oh, damn.
Boy, come over here and get this pussy.
Yeah. Y'all asses would have folded. I know you would have folded with Pandora. I seen you. I seen all y'all. Look what Ron Barnett said. I'm hypnotized. Yeah, y'all. She would have got you. I know the game. I know the game. That's how they get you. That's how they get you. I know. Because I've been there. I mean, I know the game. Oh man. Oh, let's go back. Let's see what we got. Can we go back? Look. Right there. Look at that. Would have got your ass. And right here. Boys in the Hood. Let it lean down on.
want to hit this? Oh, damn. Boy, come over here and get this pussy.
Y'all would have got behind it. I know the game. Let's continue.
Is that all there is to the business of flattery?
No, that is only the technique. Then comes the motive a woman uses as a lure. The type of woman you perhaps have in mind never sells a man herself or anything she can give him. Instead, she sells him his own egotism.
Is that all that women use when they wish to flatter men?
That is the most effective thing they use. It works when sex appeal fails.
So that's the most important part of that. He didn't even mention sex yet. He was just saying, hey, these are the things that women will do to manipulate a man and get you off your square, to make you become a drifter. All right? And then he said, when sex fails, then they'll do these things. Because we all know in today's dating climate, sex is the first thing that women think will keep a man. But now you have these women that are teaching this, what did April Mason call it? Dark femininity. You got the Shira Sevens trying to teach women how to get money out of a man without giving anything in return. Like, yeah, you guys got to be mindful of this. You know, if you a stand-up dude, you stand-up guy, you can point out the signs. You know, you can see certain things to get out of that. But like I said, man, sometimes us as men, we weak. And when, you know, Pandora lean down on you, it may be a problem. So it may be a problem.
So I'm to believe that big, strong, smart men can be wound up and manipulated through flattery, just as if they were so much putty? Is that possible?
Is it possible? It is happening every minute of the day. Moreover, unless they are non-drifters, the bigger they come, the harder they fall when the expert flatterer moves in on them.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown.
Zion Williamson, a former girl that he was involved with, is saying that he then assaulted her. I believe it was 2020.
All right. And like I said, this was written in 1938. And you got two prime examples right there. He said the bigger they are, the harder they fall. There you go. Let's continue.
But these forces are meek in comparison with those which operate in the human mind under my control. You see, I do not seek to control stars and planets. I prefer the control of human minds.
Where did you acquire your power, and by what means do you add to it?
I add to my power by appropriating the mind power of the earthbound as they come through the gate at the time of death. 98 out of every 100 who come back to my plane from the earth plane are taken over by me, and their mind power is added to my being. I get all who come over with any form of fear. You see, I am constantly at work, preparing the minds of people before death, so I can appropriate them when they come back to my plane.
Will you tell me how you go about your job of preparing human minds so you can control them?
I have countless ways of gaining control of human minds while they are still on the earth plane. My greatest weapon is poverty. I deliberately discourage people from accumulating material wealth because...
All right, now, hey, man, I don't know why this goddamn thumbnail, StreamYard effing up. But yeah, poverty and health. I mean, one speaks for itself. I always talk about this, and that's why, I try and talk about budgeting and money and things of that nature. And you heard he said discourage people from generating wealth. Let's continue.
Poverty discourages men from thinking and makes them easy prey for me. My next best friend is ill health. An unhealthy body discourages thinking. Then I have countless thousands of workers on Earth who aid me in gaining control of human minds. I have these agents placed in every calling. They represent every race and creed, every religion.
What about these boys and girls who are said to be on the road to hell? Are you in control of them?
Well, I can answer that question only with yes and no. I have corrupted the minds of the young by teaching them to drink and smoke, but they have me baffled through their tendency to think for themselves.
You say you have corrupted the minds of the young people with liquor and cigarettes. I can understand how liquor might destroy the power of independent thought, but do not see what cigarettes have to do with helping your cause.
You may not know it, but cigarettes break down the power of persistence. They destroy the power of endurance. They destroy the ability to concentrate. They deaden and undermine the imaginative faculty, and help in other ways to keep people from using their minds most effectively. Do you know I have millions of people, young and old of both sexes, who smoke 2 packages of cigarettes a day? That means I have millions of people who are gradually destroying their power of resistance. One day I shall add to their habit of cigarette smoking other thought-destroying habits, until I shall have gained control of their minds. Habits come in pairs, triplets, and quadruplets. Any habit which weakens one's willpower invites a flock of its relatives to move in and take possession of the mind. The cigarette habit not only lowers the power of resistance and discourages persistence, but it invites looseness in other human relationships.
I never thought that cigarettes were a tool of destruction, Your Majesty, but your explanation throws a different light on the subject. How many converts to the habit do you now claim?
I am proud of my record. Millions are now victims, and the number is increasing daily. Soon I shall have most of the world indulging in the habit. In thousands of families, I now have followers of the habit, including every member of the family. Very young boys and girls are beginning to take up the habit. They are learning how to smoke by observing their parents and older brothers and sisters.
Which do you consider to be your greater tool for gaining control of human minds, cigarettes or liquor?
Without hesitation, I would say cigarettes. Once I get a young person to join my 2-package-a-day club, I have no trouble in inducing that person to take on the habit of liquor, overindulgence of sex, and all other related habits which destroy independence of thought and action.
Tell me what must be done to ensure against the habit.
Sound familiar? Sound like what's going on in today's world. And I know, like I said, this was published or created in 1938. But when you talk about liquor and cigarettes in particular, just think about present day. Replace cigarettes with weed and vape. I myself had to stop vaping because while I was at work, I found myself vaping like every chance that I got. Or when I was watching like a Raiders or Lakers game, I'd have my little vape pen right beside me throughout the whole game. And for some odd reason, I couldn't understand why I was experiencing shortness of breath and using my asthma inhaler more often. And, it's been over a year. And, since I vaped and smoked the cigarette, I threw all that shit away. Not my cigars. They still here. Cost a lot of money. But yeah, I threw all my vape stuff out and I haven't smoked in over a year. And even though, it was very rare that I smoked a cigar, maybe like once a quarter. But yeah, I stopped doing all that shit. And the funny thing is, I know better. I'm a health professional. I know that it's unhealthy for me to be smoking a vape throughout the whole day, but I was still doing it. What does that remind you of in regards to this book? Being a drifter. Okay? So everybody is susceptible to being a drifter. It's a way that you have to pull yourself out of it. In some areas, you may be drifting there. You pull yourself out of it. It's a constant battle. And that's why the devil in this book is under the impression that he has control over 98% of the people out of, 98 out of 100. So yeah, so I had to realize my flaws and I had to do something about it. And who knows, maybe next month, another flaw will pop up and I got to pull myself out of it as well. Okay. Same thing with you guys. And like I said, I knew better. And I was still doing it. So one day I was like, man, this ain't right. And I just took everything and threw it in the trash, in the big trash, not the one in the house. And it was funny. I remember I don't know if I said, yeah. But when I was young, I asked my sister's boyfriend if he was addicted to smoking weed. And he said no. So I was like, why don't you quit right now? And he replied, because I don't want to. That's addiction. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, what you mean you don't want to? That's what they want you to do. And I said, I'm not taking a dig at anybody that wanted to smoke the sweet Chiba. I get it. And you can always justify, well, I'll just wait. I'll just do it until I'm at, after work, or, once I had a rough day, I go ahead and smoke weed. It is what it is. But there are certain things that's linked to smoking weed, and I don't know if y'all know this, but people who smoke weed, they have more STIs than people who don't, because y'all be having the smoke sessions in the car and going raw. I know the game. I know you. But yeah, that's actually a statistic. That's a fact. Okay? People who smoke weed are more hypersexual than people who don't. And it also makes you lethargic. it's a lot of things that that affects you. And I know it's good, it calms you down, and there are medicinal purposes for it. But you know when you're a weed head, man. Is that fair? That's all I'm saying. Okay. So let's go into how to protect against drifting. Let's get to it. Fair use.
Of drifting. I want a complete formula that anyone can use.
Protection against drifting lies within easy reach of every human being who has a normal body and a sound mind. The self-defense can be applied through these simple methods. 1. Do your own thinking on all occasions. The fact that human beings are given complete control over nothing save the power to think their own thoughts is laden with significance. 2. Decide definitely what you want from life, then create a plan for attaining it, and be willing to sacrifice everything else if necessary, rather than accept permanent defeat. 3. Analyze temporary defeat, no matter of what nature or cause, and extract from it the seed of an equivalent advantage.
So this is the part where once you get the book, you should dog gear this part right here, because like I said, the devil is so cocky that he's actually giving you the correct answers to defeat drifting. But he thinks that y'all gonna listen to this and not do what he's telling you to do. That makes sense? Like, he's like, yeah, I can tell them. They're gonna still do whatever the hell they want. So let's continue.
4. Be willing to render useful service equivalent to the value of all material things you demand of life, and render the service first. 5. Recognize that your brain is a receiving set that can be attuned to receive communications from the universal storehouse of infinite intelligence, to help you transmute your desires into their physical equivalent. 6. Recognize that your greatest asset is time, the only thing except the power of thought which you own outright, and the one thing which can be shaped into whatever material things you want. Budget your time so none of it is wasted. 7. Recognize the truth that fear generally is a filler with which the devil occupies the unused portion of your mind, that it is only a state of mind which you can control by filling the space it occupies with faith in your ability to make life provide you with whatever you demand of it. 8. When you pray, do not beg. Demand what you want, and insist upon getting exactly that, with no substitutes. 9. Recognize that life is a cruel taskmaster, and that either you master it, or it masters you. There is no halfway or compromising point. Never accept from life anything you do not want. If that which you do not want is temporarily forced upon you, you can refuse in your own mind to accept it, and it will make way for the thing you do want.
So real quick, and I know, I keep asking the question. I know this stuff that you're listening to is valuable, but some people may be torn and they're like, man, I'm not taking advice from the quote unquote devil. Just remember, Napoleon Hill, the author, actually created these steps. Okay. So if you feel some type of way about, man, I'm not taking the devil's advice, just remember this is a fictional type of thing. So he's having a conversation with himself. So he just wrote the character as the devil. So that's why I'm saying that. And again, I'm religious as well. I wanted to make sure, but the stuff that he's saying is actually correct. Okay. This is Napoleon Hill talking. All right. Let's continue. Wait, let me see.
10. Lastly, remember that your dominating thoughts attract, through a definite law of nature, by the shortest and most convenient route, their physical counterpart. Be careful what thoughts you dwell upon.
That list looks imposing. Give me a simple formula, combining all the 10 points. If you had to combine all 10 in one, what would it be?
Be definite in everything you do and never leave unfinished thoughts in the mind. Form the habit of reaching definite decisions on all subjects.
Can the habit of drifting be broken, or does it become permanent once it has been formed?
The habit can be broken if the victim has enough willpower, providing it is done in time. There is a point beyond which the habit can never be broken. Beyond that point, the victim is mine. He resembles a fly that has been caught in a spider's web. He may struggle, but he cannot get out. Each move he makes entangles him more securely. The web in which I entangle my victims permanently is a law of nature not yet isolated by or understood by men of science.
Do you mean you have a method by which you can cause people to drift so far away from self-determination that they can never save themselves?
Yes, a definite method, and it is so effective it never fails.
Do I understand you to claim your method is so powerful your opposition cannot reclaim those whom you have permanently ensnared through drifting?
I claim just that. Do you think I would control so many people if my opposition could prevent me? Nothing can stop me from controlling people except people themselves.
You see that? That was, and then when I was reading it, I think I was in the gym. I was like, God dang. He was like, nothing can stop this but people themselves. And that's what I've been saying this whole time we've been doing this review. Napoleon Hill is actually giving answers in this back and forth, but it seems like it's going to fall on deaf ears because remember this is in 1938, and everything that you're listening to can apply to present day. So nothing has changed. And it's only a select few of people that can get out of that mindset of drifting and become non-drifters. Okay, let's continue.
Marriage. I cause men and women to drift into marriage without plan or purpose designed to convert the relationship into harmony. Here is one of my most effective methods of converting people into the habit of drifting. I cause married people to bicker and nag one another over money matters. I cause them to quarrel over the bringing up of their children.
Hey, all this sound familiar, don't it? Sound like present day.
Engage them in unpleasant controversies over their intimate relationships.
You want to know if Raquel is on any dating apps? Raquel says she is not. My Lock the Phone investigator searched her apps and found that Raquel is not telling the truth. Raquel has 2 dating apps as recently as August of 2024.
Married, man. Why be married, man? Real talk.
Look at her face. She cool, she like, I'm on it.
Real talk. Why be married, cuz? I don't do nothing to you. Nothing. I don't do nothing to you, bro.
That's the problem.
Look.
You do nothing. You do nothing.
Look,
you know what?
That was a funny thing. That girl's reaction, she was like, I understand. Yeah, girl.
You do nothing.
Look, hold on, let me go back. Look at her face. She was like, well, there it is. That justifies this woman's crazy behavior of cheating because you do nothing.
Do nothing.
You know what?
You're mundane. You're mute.
You know what? You can have that. You can have that noise, man. You can have all that noise.
Okay, period.
You can have all
William,
that.
you want to know if Raquel has been direct messaging with any other man? Raquel says she is not. My Lock the Phone investigator searched her DMs and found she's not telling the truth.
And in disagreements over friends and social activities. I keep them so busy finding fault with one another that they never have time to do anything else long enough to break the habit of drifting.
That sounds like modern relationships because when we do the Pop the Balloon reviews, we always say it looks like these women or these men are looking for reasons to disqualify somebody. And, this book touched on that. And also the money matters. What is the most popular conversation in Black relationship discussions? 50-50, $100,000 or more. Nothing has changed. Even in marriages, divorce is often cited, or finances are often cited at the top of one of the reasons why people get divorced. Nothing has changed. And we sitting there listening to it, and it's like we had the answers on how to fix this, but nobody wants to fix them. And we just using them as talking points. Sad, but it is what it is. So it's crazy. Let's see here. Did I miss any super chats? Oh, we good. We good. Cool. So I can continue. All right. So this is one of my favorite parts of the book. Opinions and facts. Y'all know why this is one of my favorite parts. So fair use. Let's continue. Here we go.
Great surprise to many people to learn there is so close a relationship between thinking and sex emotion. Tell us now about the third appetite, and let's see what it has to do with self-discipline.
The habit of expressing loosely organized opinions is one of the most destructive of habits. Its destructiveness consists in its tendency to influence people to guess instead of searching for the facts when they form opinions, create ideas, or organize plans.
Sound familiar, right? Lord, this is so good. Hold on.
The habit develops a grasshopper mind, one that jumps from one thing to another but never completes anything. And of course, carelessness in the expression of opinions leads to the habit of drifting. From there, it is only a step or two until one is bound by the law of hypnotic rhythm, which automatically prohibits accurate thinking.
If slavery...
Here we go. Listen to this. Jeez, man, this StreamYard messed this up.
Tell us now about the third appetite, and let's see what it has to do with self-discipline.
The habit of expressing loosely organized opinions prohibits accurate thinking.
If slavery only affected Black women, it would still exist.
Hearing that was one thing. Then a few seconds later, realizing that it's true was another thing. And then envisioning what the world would look like if enslavement was still happening and it was only happening to black women and black men were still walking around free, realizing what that world would be like. That shit sent me the other.
So, and I'm gonna let this dude talk, but the reason why I put that in there is because now this conversation, if slavery only affected black women, black men would be okay with it. The black community has adopted this as truth. Ain't that crazy? Where people are literally making think pieces about black men being free and black women being slaves. That's how effed up the black community is. And that's the great lengths that they will go to demonize black men. And then they'll get black men like this to entertain this foolery. Ain't that crazy? Opinions, facts, people say whatever they want, and the black community adds more trauma to our already long resume of shit that we done been through. And every month there's always something new to demonize black men. First it was the passport bros, catching HIV in these other countries. It was something before that, and you guys can go down the list. Now this conversation is slavery. And now it's adopted as if black men would be okay with that. This is the type of shit that we go through, man. And that's why mental health is so important, because we got to deal with shit like this in our own community. It's embarrassing.
If it only affected black women, it would still exist. Now, I've already expressed my thoughts about this in 2 different videos, man. But I think based on some responses that I got in the comments from my last video, I think I'm going to lay out my position directly. First, let me say that the statement itself is in part a counterfactual hypothetical, because we all know historically that slavery did not only affect black women. So debating it, making assumptions, or considering the effects of it really couldn't be done in good faith for real. That being said, though, I'm more focused on the sentiment behind it, because that sentiment, for me at least, sits within the context of the current conversation surrounding the need for black men to hold ourselves accountable for our part in the maltreatment of our women.
So, and like I said, I'm gonna let this dude finish, but this is a hole that black men like this always fall into. They'll try and mask holding black men accountable by closing their eyes to the shit that black women do. You don't have any skin in the game, no right to hold black men accountable if you are afraid to address what your counterparts are doing. And I see that a lot with men who say, I'm holding black men accountable. But for some odd reason, you don't see the shit that your female counterparts are doing. So if we're supposed to be the leaders and holding ourselves accountable, doesn't that involve holding black women accountable? The ones that we have close contact with? So don't get up here on social media and say that you holding men accountable and we holding ourselves accountable for the maltreatment of black women. Have you ever asked black women how they feel about black men on social media? And this is the type of shit that I hate. And I don't mind separating myself from black men like this, because nothing in my system would allow me to simply just talk to black men and absolve the shit that I see black women doing and or saying about black men. And I know that's the little thing that people like to use. Y'all the leaders, right? Y'all the ones, we should be focused on that. Y'all the leaders of the community, right? And they use it as an insult. But they are right. We are the leaders. But the solutions that the black community wants black men over here to have, they may not like, because it's already in place. Everybody ain't gonna be saved, bro. And that's why I always tell you guys about the rule of 10. 3 people for, 3 people against, 4 people undecided. Basically what that means is my message or what I'm doing over here ain't for everybody. So black men like this, I'm perfectly fine being, separated from these types of guys, because the black community now understands that black men aren't a monolith. We don't agree. We don't agree on all the same things. We seen the Deontay Kyle thing go on where he was saying, black men are responsible for other black men who mess up. I don't agree with that at all. And it's like, I'm educated in the field of prevention. That's pretty much what public health is. So I know we had a risk management, risk assessments, things like that. So if I tell, matter of fact, let me ask y'all a question to sum all this foolery up. I ask this. Is everybody in the ghetto gonna delete you? Is everybody living in the ghetto bad people? Think about that. Is everybody that live in the quote unquote ghetto, let's say O Block or whatever, right? One of the famous ghettos or craziest places. O Block. Is everybody that lives in O Block, are they dangerous? Are they gonna delete you? No. But the reason why you, as a successful man or woman, don't go to O Block is because there's a higher probability that something could happen to you. Is that fair to say? So that's what prevention is. So if we're telling, I forgot the guy's name. He was trying to explain to women, like, man, just don't put yourself in certain situations where, it's a high probability that something can happen. And then use that ghetto analogy. You don't go over there because it's a higher probability of something may happen, but that doesn't mean that everybody that lives in the ghetto are bad people. Make sense? And that's why we don't use our own thought processes, especially on social media. And that's why I wanted to share this book to encourage y'all to, hey man, it's okay to be different. And if the black community don't accept you, I mean, it is what it is. Who cares? Who is going to kick you out of the black community? I always ask people that. Who is going to hold you accountable if you don't agree? This is just think pieces. If we don't agree, cool. Go your separate way. I'm going to go my separate way. It's all right. That's how I feel, man. It's a weird thing, man, to bring up. Like, why would you, black women was in slavery? Lord have mercy. It's the worst. We trauma bond over the foolish stuff. Dante Bryan, $2 super chat said, yeah, another pander bear sentiment. It's always a guy every time. Oh, shit. HVAC man, $5 super chat. Hence is why I brought up the marriage earlier. If them husbands say something that them women don't like, sign in divorce papers. Big fella, sign them divorce papers. HVAC man, $2 super chat. Black men are afraid because they'll lose women. I'm going to address something here quick in a second. Thank you. Brendan Lavelle, $20 super chat said, Medium man, important work as always. Thank you for this, brother. You are one of the few out here spreading the truth. I appreciate that, man. And my apologies. I can't bring the super chats up because it shows the background like this, and that's crazy. I don't know what StreamYard is doing. But yeah, so let's continue. Here we go.
So this is less an affirmation of the statement itself and more an attempt to bring attention to the idea that if a woman, in the face of the current social climate, does feel that sentiment is true, it shows that she lives in a perpetual state of defense against members of the community that are supposed to be defending her. It speaks to the fact that she feels unsafe. But Black thinker, both men and women need to be held accountable. Sure, fine. I agree 100%. My issue with that, though, is that we as men shouldn't be dictating, adjudicating, or governing anyone else's accountability but our own. To do or say otherwise gives a I get what I did, but look at what you did type energy, which is a finger-pointing attempt to absolve or excuse our own general lack of accountability in light of somebody else's faults.
All right, so let me address that because that's the other talking point that these black guys like to use. They're under the impression that if us as black men are holding ourselves accountable, somebody on black women's side is doing the same thing. They're not, okay? All they see, what you're doing right now, is pointing the finger at black men and saying that black men are the problem. And that's how you mask it, by saying, I'm going to hold black men accountable and black women need to hold themselves accountable. They're not holding themselves accountable. It ain't no woman over there trying to do the same thing like you're trying to do to black men. And that's why you need to open your eyes and see what these black men are complaining about. Because like I said before, the military don't make you stay in the military. If you don't want to be in the military, they will kick your ass out. And people miss that about the military. Oh, they're going to make you do push-ups. No, man. If you don't do what you told, you're going to go through some processes, and the end result is you're going to get kicked out. That's how black men's leadership is looking these days. They're not arguing. They just leaving. And you guys need to start looking at the statistics. And I've been saying this. 1 out of 5 every married black man is now currently married to a non-black woman. That is a lot. Okay? So y'all gloss over these things. Black men have already started moving in a different direction. Okay? That's what leadership looks like. And it's happening. So while y'all sitting there closing your eyes to the shit that black women are going through, and then not just holding them accountable, but helping them. It doesn't help if you are quiet when you see them doing shit that's crazy. That's why I have this platform. I'm not sitting there talking about black women just because. Every time I do a video about something that I don't like, I try and give solutions. Y'all ain't even doing that. You so focused on what black men need to do, and you just don't see what they're complaining about. Y'all need to start listening. And then you need to start asking yourselves, why aren't there women over there doing the same things? Because black women are still under the impression that they're not doing anything wrong. And that's why these unemployment rates and the 106,000 jobs that were lost by black women last quarter, it seems like a surprise to the black community. However, y'all know I've been talking about this shit for damn near 2 years. Trying to help, trying to give you some insight on what the hell is going on. So it does not help to sit there and turn a blind eye to what black women are going through, because they do need the most help. But we still focus on black men bad. That's crazy. We the leaders, right? Supposed to say something. Jesus. Help them. That's all I'm saying, man. It's not pointing the finger. It's help. I talk about HIV and how it's affecting black women the most. All I see in the comment section and Instagram was because of these people and this people. Forgetting the fact that black women are still having sex with these people and these people. And I'm sitting there giving preventative measures, telling you what you need to do. Make sure you vet these men. Get them tested. Go get Quick on Amazon. All this stuff is easily accessible. You can find it on my page. I get pushback for doing that. I don't know why you're still trying to save a media man. I know y'all seen the comments. Every time I do a video trying to, give some, helpful advice, I get cooked. So, man, no, I'm not going to sit there and not say anything, because I am a leader in my community, and they're going to know where they F up. And I'm going to try and help as much as I can. Same thing with black men. I hold myself accountable. Damn near every story I done told on this show right now have been about me and where I failed. And it's many more. Okay? So, yeah, ain't nobody perfect, but damn, don't act like you trying to be righteous and hold black men accountable, because the black woman that's watching you, and if you read the comments under his video, all they was doing is saying, yeah, it's black men's fault. They don't understand that even if you were trying to help black men get better, all they see is you, a black man, talking shit about black men. That's all they see. It doesn't encourage them to get better on their own. They're just like, yeah, we need more black men to call black men out, while they're sitting there thinking that they're doing nothing wrong. That's a problem. Black men, man, sometimes we still view black women as these deities that can't do anything wrong. And that's sad, because they're suffering while we're doing that. Every time there's something new that comes out where black women are getting hit over the head, are getting surprised with shit that the black community was supposed to tell them. They were supposed to tell you that black men are on the verge of out-earning white women. Black men have increased their earnings over the past 20 years. They lowered their imprisonment rates from 1 in 3 to 1 in 5. This is the shit that our leaders were supposed to be telling black women, so they could be like, you know what? These black men aren't as bad as I thought. But we still holding on to these effed up ass stereotypes from decades ago, to make it seem like black men are still the problem. That's crazy. And that's why my gripe is always with the black community as a whole, because I know these people are educated enough to understand the truth, but they haven't told the black community on these public platforms because they want the focus to be solely on where black men are lacking. It's crazy, man. Dante Bryant, $5 super chat, said, we saw it coming for decades. As soon as Uncle Sam didn't need them anymore, it was raps. And like I said, man, and we talk about, I see, it was a narrative on TikTok where they would talk about black women were saying who they would rather have as bosses in their corporate jobs. And they were going down the list. I would prefer to work under a white man, ironically. They say, yeah, I prefer to work under white men because they treat me better. I'm not working under a white woman. My experience was different. Then they came to a black man and they say, well, I've never had a black man in that position to even work under. Like throwing a slight dig. Even though I just shared the business statistics, there are far more black men in C-suite positions than black women. But that's not the narrative you hear on social media. Black women are corporate while black men ain't even in them positions. Yeah. It's on my page. We did a whole breakdown of black businesses where I showed you the statistics. There are far more black men in C-suite positions than black women, but we don't hear that. I wonder why, black community. Shit's crazy, man. Let's continue.
What other disadvantages are there in free expression of opinions?
The person who talks too much informs the world of his aims and plans and gives to others the opportunity to profit by his ideas. Wise men keep their plans to themselves and refrain from expressing uninvited opinions. This prevents others from appropriating their ideas and makes it difficult for others to interfere with their plans.
Why do so many people indulge in the habit of expressing uninvited opinions?
The habit is one way of expressing egotism and vanity. The desire for self-expression is inborn in people. The motive back of the habit is to attract the attention of others and to impress them favorably. Actually, it has just the opposite effect. When the self-invited speaker attracts attention, it usually is unfavorable.
Yes. What other disadvantages has the habit?
The person who insists on talking seldom has an opportunity to learn by listening to others.
But isn't it true that a magnetic speaker often puts himself in the way of opportunity to benefit himself by attracting the attention of others through his powers of oratory?
Yes. A magnetic orator does have an asset of tremendous value in his ability to impress people by his speech, but he cannot make the best use of this asset if he forces his speech on others without their invitation. No single quality adds more to one's personality than the ability to speak with emotional feeling, force, and conviction. But the speaker must not impose his speech upon others without being invited to do so. There is an old saying that nothing is worth more than its actual cost. This applies as well to the free, uninvited expression of opinions as to material things.
So the uninvited opinions. And I don't know if y'all notice this on my platform and how I run things. I don't go back and forth with women. I give their advice, I make the videos, and I move the hell on. Okay? It's not like, and I've said this before, I'm going to share this video to remind you guys my thoughts on holding strange women accountable. I'm not doing that. However, they will get this truth. I will do my videos. I will support them with statistics. And if they take them, cool. If they don't, so be it. I used to do that in the military. I used to have to manage a program while I was, working in the clinic where, like, say the firefighters or the aircraft maintainers, they need specific medical exams that they need to get done either every quarter, biannually, annually. And a lot of them would get behind. In my job, the people that I used to manage, we would literally have to call hundreds of times to tell these people, you need to get your medical exams done or you're not going to be deployable. And we used to have to hound them. I hated that job. I hated managing that type of position because it's like I'm trying to convince grown-ass people that you need to get these things done. I hated it. Now, on YouTube, and in my real job, I don't have to do that shit anymore. If you don't do it, that's on you. And that's how I feel about giving this information to women, black women in particular. I already know that they don't respect me as a man. I don't know these people. They don't know me. So they don't have any right to do so. However, that's not going to stop me from giving this truth, speaking my opinion, and moving on. In regards to holding a strange woman accountable, no, that's not what I do. Okay? Listen to this real quick. Fair use. From men to say, hey, man, you should start bringing women up here. Listen, I get all these requests from men to say, hey, man, you should start bringing women up here to talk to them. What the hell am I going to do? If a woman come on here and she said that she want a man that makes $250,000, who the hell am I? I'm a strange ass dude to her. She don't respect me. So I'm going to sit there and waste my time by telling her that she don't deserve that. Who the hell am I to tell that woman that? Their fate will dictate if she's worth that type of man or not. Not me telling her that she's not worth that type of man. These women know this, bruh. And we got to get out of that mindset. I'm trying to hold strange women accountable. That's foolery. And y'all got to stop that mess. Women are very intelligent. You can sit there and tell them only the top 5% of people earn that amount of money. I've done videos on this. Do you think they care? No, they don't. They understand what they're faced with. So at that point, just watch the world burn.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
They got to figure it out themselves. I never understood guys telling strange women that they don't qualify for the man that they're asking for. You don't know that. You may have your own opinions if she out of shape. We get that. But at that point, who am I to tell her that she don't qualify for that? Let her figure it out herself. She has to go out there, and those men have to determine if she qualifies for what she's asking for, not me. So no matter what I think, it does not matter. So we got to get out of all this average, this you don't deserve that. Who cares? I can sit there and talk about whatever this woman is presenting, herself on the Kendra G show to my friends. But I'm definitely not going to tell some grown-ass woman that she don't qualify for what she thinks she qualifies for. I'm not bringing women up to do that. What's the point? I'm not going to sit there and degrade or demoralize some woman when I know what her fate looks like. If she asks me for my advice, cool, I'll give it to her. So to every guy that comments, oh man, media man, he's strapped because he has a daughter. He won't go hard on these women because he can't do that because blah, blah, blah. And, it kind of hinders him from talking bad about these women when he should be. And that's why I had to stop subscribing to him because he don't go off on these women. Who the F am I? Right? If these women want some of the information that I'm giving here, they'll come and they'll listen. But it's not going to be in the form of me degrading these grown-ass women.
Look at you. Nobody wants you but me. You ain't shit without me. You without me equals shit. You understand that, you ugly fat bitch? Now let me borrow your car.
That's what y'all want me to do? Y'all. That's what y'all want me to do, huh? Okay. Yeah. Yo. Okay. What? I'm a strange man to these. They don't know me. I don't, bro. Who am I? They don't care. God, dog. Jesus Christ. Tell these women how it is, media man. Like, who the hell am I? It's the most funniest shit, man. Oh my God. Yo, you ugly fat. Oh, no, I'm not gonna do that. But going back to the opinions and the facts portion of the book, if y'all listen, that point is why you see black people, in the black community holding on to the black deadbeat father lie, because knowing the truth harms the community's perception of black men. And this is for the guys that say, I'm holding black men accountable and not black women. If all black men are the problem by default, then there's no reason for the black community to tell black women that they need to improve their maternal patterns, because essentially, in their minds, the majority of black men are carelessly impregnating all of these innocent black women who can't control who they give access to their bodies and their womb to. In other words, when all else fails, blame Jermaine. The black community loves that narrative, and they will never break it because it keeps black women at bay. But what they don't understand is that's doing more harm to black women than it is to black men. Because if you look at all the statistics in the most important fields, black men own the most highest earning businesses in the black community. Black men earn the most income. We own the most businesses in the black community. It's all these things that are pointing directly towards black men excelling, and black women are declining with these statistics that keep coming out. Black men have fathered less children than black women have mothered. Okay? And that's why you see blackdemographics.com putting that little narrative in there. Well, black men don't put their names on birth certificates, without mentioning that, we just did the video about, the DNA results from the birth rates and shit like that, man. It's crazy. They didn't put that in there because it would have lowered, the possibility of black men actually having 46% of, the children or whatever. So yeah, we did all that. And I keep telling the black community, the more you keep ignoring the issues that black women are facing, you sending them down a dark path, man. It's not going to help them. And I know you think that it will by not saying anything, and you're expecting some black woman to be holding them accountable. It's nobody over there, man. They're okay with thinking that black men are the problem. And you know what? Black men over here just continuously doing what they need to do. Y'all better start, paying attention, man. Let's see here. HVAC Man 2000 just said that's why us Gen Z dudes ain't arguing with women. Yeah, man. I mean, and I know sometimes you get frustrated. I've gotten frustrated before. Lord knows, I remember on that Threads app recently, I kept saying this. I was like, just read the report, ma'am. Read the report, ma'am, and she just wouldn't get it. And people were in the comments like, "Lady, it's right there." It was in regards to that 80% of black men having children. They love that one. Lord have mercy. Dante Bryant, $2 said, "Now let me borrow your car." Yeah, that's what y'all want me to do. So yeah, so let's get to the next portion. Yo, oh man, let's get to the proper relationship and adversity. I got something for that. So here we go. Fair use, fair use.
To discuss the subject of how to profit by adversity, but it seems we have drifted somewhat afield from that subject.
We have detoured, but we have not drifted. The devil never drifts. The detour was necessary in order that you might be prepared to understand the most important part of this entire interview. We are now ready to get back to the discussion of the subject of adversity. Inasmuch as most adversities grow out of improper relationships between people, it seems important to understand how people may become properly related. Naturally, the question arises as to what is a proper relationship between people. The answer is that the proper relationship is one that brings to all connected with it, or affected by it, some form of benefit.
The proper relationship is one that brings to all connected with it, or affected by it, some form of benefit. Take a moment to inventory your relationships, at home, at work, and at play. List the relationships that seem in need of improvement, and keep them in your mind as you continue listening.
Now let me stop right there. In regards to relationships, men, that's something y'all need to understand. All that provide and die foolery, that type of mindset is out the window. If you're in a relationship and you're not, benefiting from it, then you need to leave that relationship. The black community hates when black men require more. If y'all don't know that, they want black men to simply be sex addicts, get with the woman because she got a big booty, and not ask, what is she going to bring to the table? The black community hates when y'all have standards, okay? And that's why you see so much discourse around black men, being sassy, or black men wanting to be the girls, because now you got more black men saying, "Hey, man, I see that you got a nice ass, but I need this, this, and this from you." And I guess that's a bad thing in the black community. I don't understand why. It just is what it is. So yeah, man, if a relationship is not serving you, get your ass up out of there, man. It is what it is, man. You got time. You can go get another woman, man. Another one, big booty, come around the door in a second. What up, AK499, which just said there are genuine female creators combating ignorance. Most women don't listen until time humbles them, unfortunately. Yeah, and I discussed this, man. You guys, mentioned a couple of women. Yeah, there are women out there trying, but the funny thing is they're not listening. They don't listen to those women, but they will listen to a black man talk down about black men. And then they will leave his conversation to that guy that's pandering and think that they're doing nothing wrong. Yeah, it's all black men's fault because they the leaders. They responsible for our bad behavior. The black community is so effed up, man. And like I said, my gripe is with the community because we let this shit go on for far too long, man. Jesus.
What then is an improper relationship?
Any relationship between people which damages anyone or brings any form of misery or unhappiness to any of the individuals.
How can improper relationships be corrected?
By change of mind of the person causing the improper relationship, or by changing the persons to the relationship. Some minds harmonize naturally, while others just as naturally clash. Successful human relationships, to endure as such, must be formed of minds that naturally harmonize, quite aside from the question of having common interests as a means of bringing them into harmony. When you speak of business leaders who succeed because they know how to pick men, you might more correctly say they succeed because they know how to associate minds which harmonize naturally. Knowing how to pick people successfully for any definite purpose in life is based upon ability to recognize the types of people whose minds naturally harmonize.
Remember Hill's definition of the mastermind: harmonious coordination of two or more minds working to a definite end.
Stay focused on adversity, if you will. If there are possible benefits to be found through adversity, name some of them.
Adversity relieves people of vanity and egotism. It discourages selfishness by proving that no one can succeed without the cooperation of others. Adversity forces an individual to test his mental, physical, and spiritual strength. It thus brings him face to face with his weaknesses and gives him the opportunity to bridge them. Adversity forces one to seek ways and means to definite ends by meditation and introspective thought. This often leads to the discovery and use of the sixth sense through which one may communicate with infinite intelligence. Adversity forces one to recognize the need for intelligence not available except from sources outside of one's own mind. Adversity breaks old habits of thought and gives one an opportunity to form new habits. Therefore, it may serve to break the hold of hypnotic rhythm and change its operation from negative to positive ends.
What is the...
Let me stop right there. So we're talking about overcoming adversity and how adversity unlocks new things and new skills that you didn't know that you had. And this is probably something that you guys can relate to. I remember when I was going through security forces tech school back in 1999, long time ago. We had to, fire for qualification. And this was around the time about, the ground portion of the tech school was about to end. And we actually got we were, I guess, pushed up to like phase 2. Phase 2 is, for my non-military folks, when you're in technical training, they give you certain privileges throughout the weeks or throughout the months. So if you're in phase 1, then that means you can't leave the dormitory. You got to find all your fun in the dormitory. You know what I'm saying? Play pool, whatever it is they got there. And then once you get to phase 2, that means you can go around the base and find your fun, so to speak, during tech school. So finally we had hit phase 2, and everybody was from different places, different states, and everybody was supposed to be good in basketball. And we were all talking mess. I'm from California. You know what I'm saying? I hoop. I got dudes from Mississippi, Georgia. Oh, man, when we get our phase 2, we going to that gym, man. We going to get in that gym. We going to play basketball. I was like, okay, cool. So I was hyped. We got phase 2. All my homeboys that was in the same school as me went to the gym, the old Warhawk over there at Lackland. Man, and we was hooping. Man, it was so fun playing with those guys from the South, from the East, different styles or whatever. And so at the, during the last game, I went up for a rebound and I tripped and I tried to brace my fall with my hands, and my hand just kept rolling on the floor like this. I was doing like this and it just kept going. And I dislocated these 2 fingers, the middle 2 fingers, right? And this was it was 2 days before we had to qualify for firing, right? And I'm a lefty. I used to shoot with my left hand, and I say used to for a reason, because I didn't want to get reclassed. Recycled, they call it. Recycled it means that if I was to go to the, to the medic, they would say, hey, you can't shoot, so you got to go back a week and wait till you can. I didn't want to stay in tech school that long, man. So you know what I did? I went up to the firing range and I fired right-handed with the M16. And you know what? I ended up firing expert qualification. I unlocked a new skill that I didn't have. And from this point forward, I shoot primarily with my right hand because of that situation. Yes. You can ask my homeboy Jamal. When he came out here, I took him to the firing range, right? And he saw me firing with both hands. He's like, man, what the hell you got going on, man? You John Wick? I'm like, nah, man, I just picked this up. So I had to overcome adversity and I had to learn how to shoot with my right hand. That was probably not the best idea because shit could have went bad, but I was so focused on trying to graduate. I was like, man, I'm not going back a week. I can't do it. Can't do it. So yeah. So y'all can probably relate to certain things where, yeah, I now shoot primarily with my right hand because of that situation. Let's continue. Here we go.
Greatest benefit one may receive through adversity.
The greatest benefit of adversity is that it may, and generally does, force one to change one's thought habits, thus breaking and redirecting the force of hypnotic rhythm.
In other words, failure always is a blessing when it forces one to acquire knowledge or to build habits that lead to the achievement of one's major purpose in life. Is that correct?
Yes, and something more. Failure is a blessing when it forces one to depend less upon material forces and more upon spiritual forces. Many human beings discover their other selves, the forces which operate through the power of thought, only after some catastrophe deprives them of the full and free use of their physical bodies. When a man can no longer use his hands and his feet, he usually begins to use his brain. Thus he puts himself in the way of discovering the power of his own mind.
The devil brings in the other self here, revealing how we can use our power of thought and our other selves to discover our true power and major purpose.
What benefits may be derived from the loss of material things, money, for example?
The loss of material things may teach many needed lessons. None greater, however, than the truth that man has control over nothing and has no assurance of the permanent use of anything except his own power of thought.
I wonder if this is not the greatest benefit available through adversity.
No. The greatest potential benefit of any circumstance, which causes one to make a fresh start, is that it provides an opportunity to break the grip of hypnotic rhythm and set up a new set of thought habits. New habits offer the only way out for people who fail. Most people who escape from the negative to the positive operation of the law of hypnotic rhythm do so only because of some form of adversity, which forces them to change their thought habits.
Isn't adversity apt to break one's self-reliance and cause one to give up hope?
It has that effect on those whose willpower is weak through long-established habits of drifting. It has the opposite effect on those who have not been weakened through drifting. The non-drifter meets with temporary defeat and failure, but his reaction to all forms of adversity is positive. He fights instead of giving up, and usually wins. Life gives no one immunity against adversity, but life gives to everyone the power of positive thought, which is sufficient to master all circumstances of adversity and convert them into benefits. The individual is left with the privilege of using or neglecting to use his prerogative right to think his way through all adversities. Every individual is forced either to use his thought power for the attainment of definite positive ends, or by neglect or design, use this power for the attainment of negative ends. There can be no compromise, no refusal to use the mind. The law of hypnotic rhythm forces every individual to give some degree of use, either negative or positive, to his mind. But it does not influence the individual as to which use he will make of his mind.
Yeah, and that part at the end there, that depends on the person. Because remember, in this book, he controls 98 of 100 people. So he says some people can fight their way out of adversity, but a lot of people just quit. Okay? And that's the mindset that we have to break. But it also coincides, and the book goes on to mention things about, controlling your emotions. And we've talked about this before, especially as Black men, not trying to be a crash dummy for certain people or whatever, but controlling your emotions, whether good or bad, is something that every Black man needs to master. But when I say master, let me be clear. Masters F up as well, okay? But they never make a habit of it, and that's the difference. Even though it is expected of you, that you're supposed to do everything right if you consider yourself a master of something, sometimes shit may go bad and we mess up. And I have a perfect example because I know you guys like basketball. And one of my favorite players to ever, I think he is a real hooper, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is one of the best scorers to ever play basketball, which is why we, call him a professional basketball player, right? Meaning that he has mastered the art of scoring. But even masters F up. And I'm going to show you an example of that. Look at this. Here we go. I don't know if y'all remember that, but you're looking at him, you're like, man, why is he mad at himself? Because the shot went in. And we're my basketball enthusiasts. Y'all remember what happened? And that year was at 2021. The Nets were actually the 2 seed in the East. That was Game 7 in Brooklyn against the Milwaukee Bucks. Game 7. They were down by 2. Kevin Durant hit that shot, which could have put them into the into the Eastern Conference Finals, I believe, if he would have hit that 3. But you know what? Even Masters F up too. The reason why he was mad is because his foot was on the 3-point line. So instead of sending Giannis and them home, they ended up going into overtime. And you know what happened? The Nets lost. That one particular play could have changed the way everybody views Kevin Durant till this day. And he wrestles with that till this day. Like he mentioned it before. He was like, man, I was 1 inch away from sending those guys home, because now the narrative is that Kevin Durant can't win without Steph Curry. However, the Nets had an amazing chance to win the championship. But just because that master of scoring the basketball made one mistake, even though he hit the shot, they end up getting sent home. And you know who actually won the championship that year? The Bucks. The team that they lost to. So that was, is so many more examples of how, masters of something can mess up. But that was one of the ones that always stuck out to me, because Kobe Bryant, he was in the same situation that Kevin Durant is currently in right now, because when the Lakers won, the 3 championships back to back from 2000, 2001, 2002, they ended up breaking up the team after 2004. We lost to the Pistons. Shaq ended up going to Miami, and Kobe stayed in LA. So, the Lakers made their decision, but Shaq ended up getting the 4th NBA title before Kobe Bryant had got his 4th NBA title. And Shaq went to some club and was talking mess. Kobe, tell me how my ass tastes. Y'all remember that shit? Because the narrative was that Kobe couldn't win without Shaq. All right? And that's essentially what they're telling Kevin Durant right now. But when Kobe ended up eventually winning back-to-back championships in 2009, 2010, he was at the podium and he was with his daughter. And somebody asked him, how does it feel to win your fifth championship? And he was like, it just means that I got more than Shaq. And I was so happy he said that. I was not a Shaquille O'Neal fan. I think he was one of the most dominant players to ever play the game, but I was more of a Kobe fan. So I was just so proud of Kobe for shutting the haters up, for actually getting 2 championships outside of him being with Shaq. And you know what? That still sticks with, that bothers Shaq to this day. Before Kobe passed, they actually had a sit down and he talked about that. So yeah, man. So even masters F up. So it is what it is. So let's see here. Let me get out of here. So yeah, man. And then also I'm gonna read a couple of these before we get out of here. Again, guys, Make sure you get the book, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Some other things that they mentioned. This was a good one. He asked the devil a question. Go ahead and tell me more of the methods by which you cause people to drift to hell with you. And the response was, take the subject of health. For example, I cause most people to eat too much food and the wrong sort of food. This leads to indigestion and destroys the power of accurate thought. I talk about this shit all the time, man. And I hate, and I don't want Rick Ross to catch a stray again, but y'all know what it is. Dudes use the excuse of Rick Ross. He get women because he rich. You don't need to get in shape. But bro, it's so much more that goes into being healthy. You know, it's just something that you need to do. It shouldn't be something that you think that is a task or a chore. That should be in your lifestyle. That should be your mindset. Just like going to work to get paid, you need to pay it forward in the gym as well. All right? So get your ass in the gym. I mean, I don't need to go too far on that, but it is what it is. And then next question was, who are your greatest enemies on earth? It says, all who inspire people to think and act on their own initiative are my enemies. Such men as Socrates, Confucius, Voltaire, Emerson, Thomas Paine, and Abraham Lincoln. And you are not doing me any good either. And that last part, and you are not doing me any good either, that's me encouraging the black men over here to think for yourselves, man. It's okay that you don't agree with, you know, the conglomerate of the black community. Because I keep reminding you guys, nobody has the power to kick you out of the community that you were born into. We don't have leaders in that have that type of power to say that you can't do what you want to do and think what you want to think. Keep thinking on your own. Don't feel bad when everybody else believes something and you don't. It is what it is. That means that you're a smart person, man. You know how to, you know, differentiate from the crowd. And too many people in the black community just go off of what everybody else thinks, influences them, and they think that it's the gospel. It's sad, but it's true. So, and then also, now I learn from your own brazen confession that you destroy their right to freedom of thought and cause them to go through a living hell on earth. What do you have to say to that? He responded, I get what I want by exercising self-control. It is not so good for my own business, but you will never be the sort of thinker that frightens me unless you gain and exercise greater control over your own emotions. Okay? And I talk about this all the time, man. We just discussed it. Got to get control over our emotions, and especially on social media. And that's what I was talking about, the arguing back and forth with these women. They need that interaction. And of course, bro, I'm going to do my job. I'm going to make sure that I take care of the black men over here. If y'all see something crazy that's new, y'all see how tough I went on the passport bro shit. I'm not a passport bro, but I don't like seeing black men being lied on. I put out a gang of videos dispelling all of those rumors. I'm going to do my part, man. I just want y'all to do your part. Say what you got to say and let, you know, and I'm saying women because I see that's where most of the issues come from. Stay away from these unruly ass women, bro. They gone. Okay? You ain't no changing them. I'm not in the business of changing people from what they already think. Those days are done. I'm not convincing anyone. Y'all know the truth. That should propel you into doing more great things out there in your own, you know, in your own lives. I'm not convincing anybody to think like, you know, to acknowledge the truth. Just go do what you need to do. All right. So yeah, man. I mean, this channel has given me so much insight into certain things that black men go through. And it has actually made me ashamed of the black community because I see how black men who think for themselves and, you know, don't get the level of respect that they should. It's sad, man. But you will find your tribe. I promise you that. Just keep being a good man. and doing what you need to do. Continue, excelling and pushing black men to the forefront, man. We doing all right, okay? So yeah, just know that I see it. I love y'all, man. I want to make sure that y'all good, and I'm gonna do my part. All right, just keep the stress levels down. All right, let's work on that, okay? I know I missed some super chats. My apologies, guys. Air Force Reek, $5 super chat said, not to get off topic, but has anyone seen the story about Chris Webber and Doug Christie and this fraternity fraud? No. No. What? Chris Webber and Doug Christie? They was on the teams that we used to battle with. I'm from Sacramento, so I used to love Chris Webber. And Doug Christie, he rumbled with Rick Fox. But no, I haven't seen it. Oh, shit. J Rags Soul Fiesta, code name. Is that Colombian pesos? 10,000? Thank you, bro. So just because you are needed, bro. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Salute to you. Have fun out there, man, in Colombia. HVAC man, $2 super chat said, that's why Gen Z dudes ain't arguing with women. Okay, I got that one. Dante Bryan, $5 super chat said, yeah, black men are responsible for our behavior, but also worship us because we're all powerful and all knowing supernatural beings. It's funny. Dante Bryan, $5 super chat said, that power of positivity stuff get on my dang nerves. I ain't gonna hold you. That's funny. Appreciate that. William K. Jones, what up though, William? 109 super chat said he ain't one without the Warriors. My pettiness. Yeah, man, they always gonna say that. William also said I just came back from the gym with a 199 super chat. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, man. And like I said, I think Kevin Durant is, if you play basketball, man, it's just hoopers. I think Kevin Durant is a true hooper. He just like to play basketball, man. And that's why I like him so much, especially on on the court. It just looks so seamless. And even though I hate the Suns, but I like Kevin Durant, man. So I'm kind of curious to see where he's going to land, man. I think he's a good dude. So let's see here. All right. Cool. All right. So, man, again, like I said, I'm not going to give everything away because at the end of the book, I don't want to spoil it, but they do give like a lot of solutions in there. The one chapter that I wanted to save. Hold on. Where's my dog here? Hold on. For you guys to read. God dang it. Especially the reflections parts. I didn't dog ear that last chapter. It's give y'all something to look forward to, not this summary. Yeah, okay. The environment, time, harmony, and caution, and then also learning from adversity. That's chapter 11 and chapter 12. They also cover self-discipline in chapter 10. So yeah, those are amazing ways to end the book. But y'all make sure you get this book. And don't forget to tune in next week because we're going to still continue with this mental health series. Where's my book? Jesus Christ. I thought I had it. I got it on mine. Is it over there? I don't know. Oh, okay. The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. We're going to go over that by John C. Maxwell. This book, it comes with a PDF if you order it on like Audible, or you order the text on Kindle or something like that. They give you a PDF because they actually have illustrations of the leadership principles. And that's what I like about this book. So yeah, we're going to review that one, give you some more tools in your tool belt in regards to leadership. One of my favorite books that I keep around me all the time. It is a New York Times bestseller, but for now, make sure you get Outwitting the Devil, man. It was an amazing book. Okay. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get out of here. I know it's Let me see here. Check in with Pooh Man. Oh, Pooh Man said, $5 just said, Media Man, 202 likes. And Chris is the biological father of Doug's daughter. What? What? Where did y'all find that? What? Chris Webber says Chris Webber, Doug Christie. It's a whole bunch of stuff. Somebody said Doug jailed after shocking fight with Chris Webber that left everyone speechless. That was 3 days ago. At 55, Doug finally links all the tapes of Jackie and Chris. What? Is this real or is this just like rumors? Somebody said Doug Christie sues Chris Webber and Jackie for $4.6 million over shocking paternity. Yeah, I got to look into that. That would be rather unfortunate. Oh my, hopefully that's not true. Damn. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna check into that, man. That'll be sad. Those two of my favorite dudes, man, hoop dudes. But yeah, but anyway, man. But let's get out of here, man. Thank y'all. Please be safe out there. Like I said, I don't know if y'all seen the news and Houston news. There's been a lot of shootings in the Galleria, and the Galleria Mall is an amazing mall in regards to the shops that they have there. But it looks like we're gonna be doing online shopping from now on because they had 2 shootings out there. It's been crazy, man. It's people wilding out here. So summer, ramp it up. Make sure you get your STI tests. Don't be running around here, man. All right. So be safe. Thank y'all for tuning in. This was definitely one of my favorite live streams to do. The lights were up, so I'm glad that we're able to be, in a different space outside of the norm, and you guys will still support that. So I don't have to keep saying there's not that many people there. It seems like y'all are interested in this stuff, and I'm gonna continue pushing this information, this knowledge, and hopefully turn you on to some new books. So again, thank y'all for tuning in. God bless y'all. Be safe. Eat healthy. Go to the gym, and we'll be back hopefully tomorrow so we can do another Pop the Balloon review so we can kind of relax and have some fun. All right. So again, God bless. Be safe. Media Man out. Peace. Thank y'all.
A fast car. I wanted to get to anywhere. Maybe we can make it. Maybe together we can get somewhere. Any place is better. Started from zero.